Happy Tuesday, everybody. Guess what? We have the question on everyone's mind, Adam.
Hmm.
Is Joe Biden alive?
Yes. Let me think. Do I feel a disturbance in the force? Can I sense something? Is it a lot of no, I got nothing. What's
You,
going
you
on?
sense a lot of malarkey?
Is
Do you
he
sense a lot of ice cream energy? How exactly would you sense Joe Biden? Would you feel his presence like over your shoulder, sniffing your hair gently? Is that how you would sense if
Whoa,
he's like,
whoa, whoa, whoa.
like alive
Back
or
up,
not?
Joe Biden. Get back. Yeah, look, if Joe Biden was dead, wouldn't you feel like a ghosty presence over every too young girl with fruity scented hair?
That's terrible. Well, okay, so before we before I spoil it for you, okay. So there's a
Uh-huh.
big if you guys haven't been following the
Spoil it.
news,
What?
if you guys haven't been following news, there's a big weird stuff, and it's funny because we talked about this on Sunday when Biden officially dropped out of the race and endorsed Kamala. He had that like weird letter that we brought up, and it just looked like it was typed in Word. It had no official presidential seal. People were saying his signature looked a little different. It looked kind of like weird and like rushed and not great. And so, and he was at his private residence when it occurred. So maybe that's why, though, you'd think you'd have some presidential stationery wherever you go. Who knows, right? But so now people came up with all these conspiracy theories that Biden is actually like super duper sick, which I think is actually probably true, or he was super sick, and that maybe he's even dead.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that was sort of like the word in the street. And it was funny because you had so many like Laura Loomer types. I think even Bill Sachs was saying he was dead. You have like all these like, I don't even know what you want to call them. Like the internet right wing pundit spear was all like Joe Biden's dead, he's in a coma, blah, 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 and all this stuff. So it's very interesting because I guess today we finally have discovered the truth, Adam.
The undeniable truth. Has Joe Biden surfaced in a pond somewhere?
Well, there's two things that have occurred. Okay. This is the first one. This is Joe Biden called into a Kamala Harris campaign event.
With a
Okay.
pre-recorded message?
This was yesterday.
Okay.
Okay.
Called
And
in?
he
Did he
called in,
hold
which
up
is,
today's newspaper or
well,
something?
see,
Or
that is weird, right? He called in. He didn't have like a Zoom call, like it's audio only. It's a little strange, right? It's very strange. Like, what does he look like? Is his face melting? Does he look like King Viserys? Like, does he have a mask on?
yeah, that's a little strange. He couldn't get him to just technology today. He could just FaceTime, right?
You're right. You want the picture of Joe Biden holding up like the day's newspaper just to show he's alive.
It is me, Joe
Yes,
Biden, the real Joe Biden. I am
right.
not dead. I am alive. I
He'll
am
deliver it just
completely
like that.
fine.
Exactly. So okay, so let's hear. We're gonna listen to this first. It's only like a 4 minute message, or like it's not a message. It's a phone call in finger quotes. So let's listen in.
Mr. President, thank you for calling in today. Over to you.
Julie, if I didn't have COVID, I'd be sitting there with you, standing there with you. I'm so proud of what you've all done. But this COVID, I'm keeping me out of people's hair for the next 3 or 4 days. But I'm
So this is really weird. He's like lisping in a weird way that I've never heard him lisp before.
If
Are
I
you hearing this?
just have a massive stroke, I'd
Yeah,
be
it's
there
rich.
with you right now.
You know what? I wonder if he did have a stroke.
Well, look, you haven't seen that? Supposedly there's a rumor going around that he
I
did
did
have
see
a
that.
massive
Yes,
stroke. Yeah,
yes.
exactly.
I saw there was a rumor that I think was he in Vegas? I forget where he was,
Yes.
and yeah, a bunch of police and other thing. They all like had radioed in that Biden had a serious medical emergency.
Right. And he was in the hospital. They took him to the hospital and they needed security immediately.
Did they, or did I thought it was like they're gonna take him to the hospital and then they ended up not taking the hospital? I didn't track that super.
There's a video on it, but I didn't
Oh,
watch
okay,
it. So,
okay,
yeah.
right. But the fact that he's lisping, like he's had a speech impediment and a stutter, but I've never heard him lisp before. That's weird.
Yeah.
And it would make sense if he did have a stroke and like maybe his face was drooping or something. That'd be why they wouldn't show a video of him or a picture of him
Ooh,
or
oh
anything.
my, devastating for your legacy, right? Half your face
Yeah.
is like drooping down. This is a Joe Biden everyone will remember.
Right.
Ah!
Well, it'd be funny because if he did have a stroke or some like horrendous medical event that kind of destroy and shit all over the Republican narrative that he like that this is a coup against him. Because like, well, I mean, he's literally like dying. Like, it's not really a coup.
Well, it does look tremendously worse on the Democrats if they like if it just shows that his deterioration was far more along.
Well, if
Well, I
it's
guess a stroke could happen
if it's a
at any
stroke, it
time,
just
yeah.
came out of nowhere, right? Well, I mean, okay, let's be real. We all knew, we here at the Sitch and Adams show knew that he was
Yeah.
degenerating, right? People were coping for 4 years. But yeah, if it was something just degenerative, you're correct. If it was something like a stroke, that actually give them better political cover, because then they'd say, oh well, this is why he backed out. He was going to fight, but then he had like a stroke or something.
Better cover rationally, worse cover optically. Because their argument was, oh, Joe Biden will be fine. He can serve out a second term. Well, imagine if he had a stroke in his first 2
Right.
weeks in office. You're
Right,
like,
right.
okay, well,
That's true.
that argument was BS.
I think the energy of, I predicted this and it came to pass so clearly. I said, if Biden drops out, whoever picks up the mantle is going to get like so much glazing
Oh, yeah.
and so much support because every Democrat voter and every Democrat donor is going to be like, you're going to save us. The Messiah has come forward to save us from Donald Trump. And that's exactly what's happening with Kamala right now. Oh my God. It's like crazy.
I know it's like raining money. You so called it. It's like,
Yes.
let's hit her with the $1 billion bomb here. Boom. Cash money.
Yes.
You get
Yeah.
$1 million and you get $1 million and you get.
Donors are like driving around with like the little air guns full of cash and they're just shooting it at her face.
Yes. We're saved.
They're like, listen, Kamala, we know you like money shots, so here you go.
Oh my God. Sitch.
Oh, got him.
No.
Ba-da-cha.
No. Oh.
Ba-ding-ba. Okay.
I'm going to be on the road, and I'm not going anywhere. It's kept me away a little bit, but I want people to remember that what we have done has been incredible, and we get so much more we're going to get done. And so I want to say hello to Kamala if she can hear me. I know she's going to be speaking shortly, and I want to say to the team, embrace her. She's the best. I want to call today to thank everybody.
Okay. You're getting my live reaction here. I've not heard this before.
Mm-hmm.
Like the visuals of this are a man literally in a hospital bed. This is not good. This is
No.
a guy with a fucking oxygen tank. Okay.
Yeah, it's really bad. It's really bad.
This is horrible.
I know.
This is horrible. No wonder he didn't zoom in. No wonder he didn't FaceTime. Oh my goodness.
I feel pretty confident he had a stroke or something because his voice sounds like weird. Like he's like it's like a lisp. It's like he's slobbering over himself or something. I don't know what's going on there. That's not
This
normal.
this is unusual. This is very unusual. Yeah.
Everybody in this effort. I know yesterday's news was surprising and it's hard for you to hear, but it was the right thing to do. I know it's hard because you poured your heart and soul into me to help us win this thing, help me get this nomination, help me win the nomination, and then go on to win the presidency. But you're an amazing team. But we've got a great. I think we made the right decision. I know how hard you've worked, how many sacrifices you made. And so many of you uprooted your lives for me, and the kind of commitment few people make for anything these days, but you made it. And I've been honored and humbled. I mean this is from the bottom of my heart. My word is a Biden, that for all you've done for me and my family. And we built the best campaign in organization in history. I've been doing this, I always kid and say, I know I'm only 40, but I've been around a long time. I don't know of a better campaign organization, grassroots campaign. We have over 230 offices opened. We have over 2,000 paid staff, and we have literally several thousand volunteers on a regular basis, thousands of them. And they've been relentless and tireless in reaching out and contacting voters. The leadership of this campaign has been amazing. Jen O'Malley Dillon, Julie Quinn, Michael Tyler, Rob Flaherty, Rufus on raising money, and so many more. You built this team. You brought them together. You brought us together. You've inspired them, and you've done what leaders do. Now we got to, the name has changed at the top of the ticket, but the mission hasn't changed at all. And by the way, I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to be out there in the campaign with her, with Kamala. I'm going to be working like hell, both as a sitting president, getting legislation passed, as well as in campaigning. What we still need to save this democracy. And Trump is still a danger to the community. He's a danger to the nation. And just ask my foreign policy colleagues, my counterparts, and other people around the world and at home. Look, so I'm hoping you'll give every bit of your heart and soul that you gave to me to Kamala. And I want you to know, I won't be on the ticket, but I'm still going to be fully engaged. I've got 6 months left of my presidency. I'm determined to get as much done as I possibly can, both foreign policy and domestic policy. Keep lowering costs for families, continue to speak out on guns and child care, elder care, prescription drugs, and climate. Climate still is the existential threat that we face, and if we don't win this thing, it's all in jeopardy. And we got to keep working for an end to the war in Gaza. I'll be working very closely with the Israelis and with the Palestinians to try to work out how we can get the Gaza war to end and Middle East peace and get all those hostages home. I think we're on the verge of being able to do that. And we got to keep our alliances together. It's critically important. It took a while for me to build these alliances. Most of my colleagues have acknowledged that, but it's critically important for our safety and security. And I know I'll be doing whatever Kamala wants me or needs me to do in addition. So let me be real clear.
Jumping jacks.
We're still fighting in this fight together. I'm not going anywhere. And I want you to know you've always had my back. And I promise you, I will always have your back. And I'm anxious for you all to hear from Kamala. So thank you, Julie. You're the best.
Well, thank you so much, Mr. President.
Thank you. I'm sticking around. I'm going to listen.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. President, again, for taking time to join our call today.
So this clip doesn't actually have it. There was a clip where I heard Kamala respond to this, and she kind of slips up. She's like, "Oh, glad to hear you recover. I mean, on the phone." She's gonna say recover.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Everyone was. Weren't people spinning that as recording? She was about to say recording, like it was a recording.
Oh, was
call.
that what they were saying? I was thinking of recovering from sickness.
I think recovering is probably closer to the slip up. So.
Right.
But I thought the conspiracy was that this was a recorded call.
I mean, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So, it was interesting because I heard people before I had listened to this saying, "Oh, they thought people who didn't even like Biden saying they thought he sounded strong in the speech in this phone call," and people were speculating whether it was AI or something. And I listened to it. I'm
why
like,
would
what
you
are
do
you
a
talking
slur?
about?
Why would you do a slur with AI?
Right. I guess it sounds cogent. What he's saying is cogent. I mean, he's probably just reading something, but it does sound completely cogent. It doesn't sound like he's losing his train of thought in mid sentence. But the slur is so bad and distinct, and obviously if it was AI, you wouldn't have that quality to it.
Yeah. Yeah, this was not good, but look, he's out of the race. It's over. Why are we beating up on this guy?
That's right. Okay. So after this, obviously, speculation continued to grow. Is Biden alive? Is something seriously wrong with him? Blah, 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 blah. And today, finally, the question was answered. We finally have our first visual confirmation of Joe Biden.
Nice. What happened?
Alive.
Where is he?
Let's see.
Mr. President, how are you feeling?
Mr. President, how are you feeling?
How are you feeling?
How are you feeling?
Well, you can talk to us.
Come on. How are you feeling since you dropped out of the race, sir?
How are you feeling about Harris's campaign?
Can Harris beat Trump? Can Harris beat Trump, Mr. President?
Now he gets all the way to the top and falls back down, right?
So obviously this is a fake Biden double because he was able to walk up the stairs totally fine, right?
Well, he's not up him yet, Sitch.
That's true. Uh-oh.
Here he goes. Oh yeah, the salute. He's got
Well,
his
they
little
gave it the old
mask.
college try. They tried to get him over under the wing to say a few things, but he wouldn't answer any.
He didn't even have a. Did you see that? Like, wait, let me go back a second. Look, what
He
is
tried-
this?
Look at his little mask.
Yeah, wait. Look, that's just like a trashy surgical mask. That's not even an M95 whatever mask. That's supposed to actually be
You want him
effective
to come
against
out in a
COVID.
Darth Vader helmet?
Yeah, no, I mean, no, you know they just like the little white or black masks were the ones that actually were supposed to stop, or like reduce, I should say, COVID spread. The whole surgical mask didn't do like crap.
Remember how Trump didn't want to wear a mask, and they finally
Mhm.
got him one. I think it had like the presidential seal on it. It's like super badass mask.
Oh, right, yeah, that makes sense.
A Bane looking mask with the presidential seal on it. He's like, "That's right, Commander in Chief." Wear no surgical mask. Get out
It
of
had
here.
like a smile on it, but it was like fire, and there's like an eagle in the front spreading its wings.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. So there you go. Biden is, in fact, still alive. I don't believe the conspiracy that like he was unconscious and then like they just pushed out that letter and then he woke up. I think what's more likely is that he did have a serious medical event, probably not COVID, or maybe he had COVID and also that a serious medical event. And that medical emergency basically forced him into dropping out.
Which is crazy because that means the timing wasn't really
It was just random.
Yeah.
Right.
They weren't saying, "Oh yeah, this Sunday." Well, they might have said that after the event happened. Supposedly the event happened a few days ago. So.
Yeah, it happened on like Thursday, I think. So it'd be funny because if that comes out, and I think this will eventually leak out or come out in the coming month. If that comes out, it would show that like Elon and people that were saying that this was like predicted like a month away or weeks away or whatever, that was a total lie.
Right.
Because obviously if he had some medical emergency, that wasn't, well, unless you really believe the conspiracy that they planned the medical emergency.
Oh yeah. Let's watch this turnaround one more time. It's just God, it's so frail. Look at this here. He's like gives a
like
thumbs up, does a little I mean, oh my God. It's like he's drunk or something. It's like he's just, I'm leaving the party, guys. All right. Where's my car? Oh man.
Yeah.
Oh man. You got to leave on a high note, Sitch.
That's true. That's true.
This is not a high note.
Well, I mean, you're correct, but it's better to leave on this note than to leave on a stretcher, right? That's the lowest note possible.
Yeah. He was there for us in our time of need. I don't know. It's so all of the people talking about this influential presidency that Joe Biden had just seems ridiculous to me. He presided over the worst inflation in 50 years. Great economy, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't buy it either. Yeah. I don't buy it either. This is okay. Well, before we move on, because we have to talk about Secret Service and then obviously Kamala.
Oh yeah.
Was there anything else about Biden being alive that you wanted to talk about?
No, I'm amazed.
Okay. That's good.
The Secret Service stuff is interesting, obviously. Right. Yeah.
The Wooster for $2 says Pelosi finally got him. Sad face. Commander Kayla for $20. Thank you so much. Says Biden has had a serious medical emergency. DNC hyper Kamala support makes sense as she may be about to be our incumbent. At that point, they basically have to support her. That is true. That is true. I mean that it's possible. Yeah, it's possible that Biden will actually have to resign or something. If the medical emergency was serious enough, I think he's going to try to. Some people have predicted they think that Biden is going to drop out and that's going to help Kamala. I don't actually agree with that. I think Kamala not being president is actually better for her chances. because number one, she doesn't have to actually like split her time between campaigning and being president. Number two, I think Kamala gets a lot of I think she gets additional leeway in people's minds by not being the president. Like in terms of being blamed for how things are running now, right? I mean, she's a vice president, obviously, but that's, significantly different than being the president. Her administration wasn't really in control of things. So I think it's actually better for her to not be president. So I think he's gonna hold on by the fingernails unless he really has to get out. And also it'd look worse for Biden from a personal level, on his ego level, if he has to resign like so close to the end date.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I'm like, he's going to try to make it to the very end. And I
Yeah.
think everybody is going to try to help him. Everybody on the Democrat side, obviously. The Republicans
Right.
could care less. But they're going to try to uphold his legacy by getting him through the inauguration is a big ceremony. Whoever wins in November is inaugurated on January 20th. Like if he's just absent from all of that, oh man, giant hit to his legacy, right?
Yeah.
You're a one-term president. Not only that, you can't even finish out your term. You become infirmed. Oh. His biggest accomplishment was he died in office.
Right.
They're going to try to avoid that at any cost.
Wouldn't be good. Okay. Let's see. Oscar for $5 says, here's undeniable proof that the Biden audio is doctored. He had little to no gaffes in the call. True.
He did sound, they must have just given him something to read though.
Yeah, he was probably just reading something. It was all like a coherent, complete sentence. So
yeah.
Majin for $5 says, Sitch, do you lean into the stroke conspiracy? Are you a stroker? Hi, Adam. I mean, I wasn't until I heard that call, and I was like, there's something wrong with his voice. That's not just he had normal COVID. His throat is scratchy. Like he's slurring over his words in a way that is not a COVID thing that I've ever heard. So,
right. Yeah, it could be a stroke. Who knows? We'll figure it out. It'll come to light.
Twitter section $5 says if the Democrats run a Kamala Whitmore ticket or it comes out that something did happen to Biden and they're hiding it, the Democrats are finished. I think Kamala Whitmore would. I said this on Sunday. I think she needs a male vice president.
You did.
I really think she needs a male vice president.
Girls just wanna.
No.
They wanna have fun. Girls. Come on, Sitch.
Idea.
Come on, Sitch. It's 2024.
It's the pussy power. No. Get all those women with their pussy hats again. Remember how cringe that was? That little pink pussy hats. No.
I don't know. Look, I'd love to see the internal polling on this.
No,
I would love to see the internal polling on this.
There's too many of the undecided voters, independent voters who are important that would not vote for two women just on the face of it, I think.
Right.
So no, I disagree. It'd be so terrible.
Do you think Kamala having a white husband hurts her or helps her with the black vote?
I think I guess it technically hurts, but I'm not sure it's going to make a big difference.
Right.
I don't know if people really know or care about her husband. So
well, I mean, he's going to be perceived as the first man. Yeah. So they're gonna start talking about him, interviewing him, because that's a rare situation. Are you kidding me?
Is he going to be the first man or the first gentleman?
Probably the first gentleman. But look, obviously, people dig into the first lady like crazy.
Right.
And this reverse gender situation, oh man, he's going to be interviewed. It's going to be, yeah. So the idea that that's going to be something that they put aside. Look, I don't think it's a big deal from a social perspective. I'm just curious if other people will think it's a big deal. Those racists.
Ostracy says Whitmer already said no to being the VP.
She did, yeah. Whitmer did.
Interesting.
Yeah. Whitmer said, I'm not leaving, but they always say that. Come on, be real. Be real. As soon as she's asked, she's like, well, I'm going to have to talk to my family about this.
Right.
There's very stages for this.
That's true. That's a good point. and I said the same thing with Biden. I said they're going to all say that he's not dropping out till he drops out.
Yeah, tell you.
In a
I'm
brief
not having a
interaction
stroke. Oh, wait, I am having a stroke.
exactly. In a brief interaction with a reporter in Michigan, Governor Gretchen Whitmer indicated she's not interested in serving as vice president and declined the position to offer, quote, "No, I'm not planning to go anywhere. I'm not leaving Michigan."
Planning? Oh, I'm not planning. Oh, wait, spontaneous. I wasn't
I know
planning
you're
this.
yeah,
Look, I'm going somewhere.
right. Right.
I don't know if Whitmer wants it. And the perception of that is tough because, I mean, is it good for her to raise her profile and maybe run? I mean, maybe.
Well, maybe we'll talk about the Secret Service stuff later. We should talk about the
VP stuff?
election
Sure.
stuff, the VP stuff. Well, just the Kamala stuff. So there was actually kind of an interesting thing. I didn't realize this, but way back in May of this year, the Democrats were planning to nominate Biden over the internet virtually on August 7th before their convention, weeks before their convention. And this was the plan. The reason that they wanted to do this, well, the reason they said they wanted to do this was that they wanted to avoid missing some Ohio general ballot deadline that could maybe potentially make it so that the Democratic candidate wouldn't be on the ballot or something.
Wow. Okay.
And so this was talked about all the way back in May of this year. So not new. But then now that things have done the switcheroo, Biden's out and Kamala's in, they still want to do the same thing, and now it serves a dual purpose because there's a lot of energy right now in the Democratic Party where all the Democratic donors and all like the highfalutin Democrats in the Democrat parties, it seems like none of them really want to have some kind of convention fight, which I am sad because I think that'd be a lot of fun and be interesting because we haven't seen that in like decades. But none of them seem like they want to have it. They want to have a neat and orderly, like everyone stand in line, get behind Kamala. We all just nominate her in like a smooth transition of the candidate, I guess, or power. And so the fact that they're going to do this online nomination thing, which you're probably going to hear other pundits bring this up, and they're going to tell you, "Oh my God, the Democrats are just doing this to secure Kamala's seat," which they could be. But as I said, this was planned months and months and months ago for Biden, so keep that in mind. The fact that they're going to do this on August 7th, which I didn't realize on Sunday, this puts a massive tamper, I think, on Newsom or Whitmore, any of these other people's ability to jump in. I don't think it's some. I think it puts a pretty strong damper on their ability to jump into the race. They might try, but I think it's going to really tamper that down.
No. I'm saying Gavin Newsom.
Oh, Newsom.
Some.
Gotcha. I always say Newsom. Yeah,
And it drives people insane. So just
I know.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Gavin
but,
Newsom.
Newsom.
Yes.
Yes.
But yes, I agree. They're trying to avoid a nasty food fight in front of the public because they think it's going to damage their candidate. So there's two ways of thinking about this. There's that's going to actually damage the candidate to the point where they're useless, or that's going to make them a better candidate, sharpen them, right?
Right.
So yeah, I think I lean more towards the surviving a fight makes you a better candidate.
Mm-hmm.
It's a weaker, especially, and it looks totally elitist. So I think you're more likely to scare off some voters that way. But if this is, people perceive the presidency as a fight. And look, even Kamala's coming out and saying, "Look, I'm going to fight for you. I'm going to fight for you. I'm not going to fight for myself, obviously, because I don't want to have a brokered convention, right?" So doesn't that kind of ruin that attack vector for her?
Well, I mean, this definitely plays into like, it's so obnoxious. Like now we have the right saying like this is a coup, and now we have the left saying Trump is too old. Like we just had like a reverse. Both sides just reverse to troll each other, which is really stupid. But this does play more into the quote, the elites are cooing narrative if there's not like a convention fight or something. Even though I guess it technically shouldn't, because the delegates, I mean, we would think of the delegates as being elites anyway. They're not like, normal voters, but it just, I think emotionally, psychologically plays closer into that if there's no fight.
So August 7th is this online nomination, and then the actual convention is the 19th through the 22nd.
Yes,
That's crazy.
that is weird. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's very strange.
Oh, so yeah. Ooh. That's weird,
And
and I don't like it.
apparently, Kamala has already got promises or word from the amount of delegates she needs to nominate her, saying that they're nominating her so that she'll be the nominee. So it seems like unless something crazy happens, she's got this in the bag. So I don't think, if this thing with Ohio wasn't going on, I do think you would have Whitmer or Newsom or some other people kind of try to maybe jockey in. I think now this happening on on next August 7th,
August 7th.
not October, August 7th.
Very
I don't
similar
think
to the October 7th
yes,
situation here.
I don't exactly. I don't think there's enough time because normally what the other candidates would want to do is they'd want, okay, Kamala has been chosen. They'd want to like a week to see if she can like do it, right? And see what the reaction is before they go and sully their name. And then if she was doing poorly, they'd be like, okay, I've got 3 or 4 weeks to basically jump in there and get the nomination. Now they only have, if they wait a week, they only have literally 1 week before the vote, and that's not enough time. So just I don't think it's going to be remotely possible for anyone to jump in now. I think it's just going to be Kamala all the way.
Yeah, that seems to be what everybody is saying. That's word on the street is Kamala. Just so sad. Very sad. Does that
It is sad
help
because it would
her?
be fun, but
Well, does that do you agree with me that it hurts her more than helps her?
yeah, obviously I agree with that. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Um, it was interesting. She had a campaign rally today.
Right.
And because she had like an earlier speech, and none of her speeches so far have been good right after this. But I was listening to her campaign rally today. So her biggest problem is her voice.
Right.
She does not have a appealing voice to people, especially men. She has the Southern California vocal fry voice. And when she's like doing the campaign voice where she's trying to, project her voice to a crowd, it kind of accentuates it even
Oh
worse.
my God. No.
Like it like kind of like doubles it. Like if you listen to her speak normally, like in a normal voice, you can hear it, but it's like more subdued. But when she's projecting her voice, it's like a lot worse. And I think that's going to be her strongest thing to get over in terms of like people thinking whether she's presidential or not. But putting that aside, when I was actually listening to like what she was saying and the strategy that she was employing, I actually think she gave a really good speech and sort of the strategy that she's going for, at least in that speech. And I think what they're going to be going for forward is like kind of ironic because the Democrats have become very soft on crime, that she's kind of going with this, I'm a prosecutor, Donald Trump is a criminal. Look, I went after, the evil elites. Donald Trump is an evil elite. I went after sexual abusers. Donald Trump's sexual abuser. Kind of going for this like he's a corrupt, crooked politician, and I'm like the one who's gonna drain the swamp almost. And I do think that strategy is going to work because I think that the voters that haven't made up their mind, they're not going to necessarily associate Kamala with Biden or his administration. And so they're going to look at it like, I think it's kind of what you said on Sunday. People want something new. And I think they're going to view Kamala as like the new thing that's coming in to like clean the slate here from all like the grossness that's existed before.
Well, tough on crime Democrat definitely is new. I mean,
Yeah.
that's playing off the irony thing. I mean, you don't think
Yes.
of Democrats as tough on crime, so
Well, she's not really running on like tough on crime. She's just running like Trump is a criminal and I'm a prosecutor,
right.
right? She's not like I'm going to be tough on crime like in general. So
Oh, well then it's all off then. I thought she was running on. I'm a tough on crime Democrat, and I'm going
She
to clean up
should.
crime. Yeah.
She should. She's not.
I'm
I
going
mean,
to
she
be
hasn't
tough on
yet.
Donald Trump as I'm letting all those rapists and murderers out of jail with my bail reform law.
Well,
We're
it
going to
could-
put Republicans in jail and Democrats get to walk free. Like, that's
I
not a
think
good
that-
message, Sitch.
No, you're correct. But I think this is the way I think it's gonna play out. Like that, I think her strategy of saying what she's saying and kind of framing Trump as a criminal is a good strategy. It could blow up in her face in the debate because if she confronts Trump with it in the debate, he's gonna be like, you're Soros prosecutor, you're pulling all these people out of jail, you're letting the immigrants come across the border, blah 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 blah, and it might like make it look really shitty. Whether
He's
that
going to
debate will
destroy
have
her in the
a
debate.
big I'm not so certain. He's been very low energy recently in his debates and his speaking. So I'm curious. I'm curious to see how the debate goes, if it even goes, but I'm curious to see how it goes. But that debate's also pretty close to the election, so it might not make huge difference one way or the other.
Kamala had one job to clean up the border, and she failed utterly. And Trump is just
Right.
going to hit her with that over and over and over again.
That's
She's
true.
going to come back at him and say, look, you promised the voters you'd fix the border. I never made any promises like that. And you failed.
She'll probably come with that. And she'll probably also come with we tried to fix the border and
Oh, and you stood in the way.
sabotaged it. Right,
And he
yeah.
did. Oh my God.
He
Trump did.
Right.
Oh, this debate is going to be brutal.
It's always hard to tell, like with these independent swing voters, what they're going to specifically latch on to personally,
Right.
right? What narrative they're going to attach themselves with. I do think this Donald Trump is a criminal and she's the prosecutor. I get my intuitions, my senses that that's going to be effective, but
The inside
We'll see.
baseball on Kamala Harris is that everyone inside her office kind of hates her guts and that she is terribly unprepared all the time. And have you heard these?
I hadn't heard the second part. I'd heard that she has some, and I wanted to talk about this too because it's interesting that she has some incredibly high turnover rate, like something like 92% of her staff has quit
Yes.
since she's become VP and been replaced.
Who
which
else
is
have we
very
heard that
strange.
about?
With Trump.
Yeah, look.
I don't know if it was that high though, but it was high with Trump. But I don't know if it was that high.
Well, it's interesting to me that we have two candidates that everyone claims are a disorganized mess behind the scenes, right?
Yes, that is funny.
What is happening? Well,
I don't
why?
know.
Look, why is this the case? Why does everyone fail upwards, right?
Right.
Yeah. So the thing I was reading about this, and a thing that bugged me was, okay, she gets the big news. She's doing this event, which is basically, I mean, it's like a commencement speech or something. This is the first time that she speaks since the big news comes out. And
Mhm.
anyone with any political instinct, I mean, Trump would get this immediately, right? You're going to think everyone is going to want to see what I say after the big news drops, right? That's
Right,
going to be
right.
the viral moment. And if
Yes.
I say something enticing, it's going to get around the world. It's going to just basically knock everybody out of the running. It's just going to be all about me and my new presidential campaign, right?
Mhm.
And she totally fails.
Yep.
She basically just delivers a commencement speech. I'm like, what the hell am I watching here? Like, does she not know that this is going to be the headline behind this is like, first time Kamala Harris speaks after Joe Biden steps down? Does she not know that that's going to be the, like, and the after that, it could say, comma, utterly annihilates Trump campaign from space. Like, that's what you want tacked onto that.
Right.
Not
Right.
delivers milquetoast commencement speech at 10. Right?
Right.
So my thinking is, and this is going to be the problem with Kamala Harris. I mean, how is it pronounced? Is it Kamala or Kamala or
Who cares?
Kamala Harris? This is the problem.
Camelot.
This is the problem with Kamala Harris, right? I think her political instincts are like nil, zero,
Yes,
zip,
you're correct.
zero, zilch, like nada.
They're in the trash. They're non-existent.
Right.
She has
And-
the political instincts of a fly flying into a fly strip.
Now Trump may be bad with preparation, as Kamala is supposedly bad with preparation. But
Right.
what are Trump's political instincts, Sitch?
They're very great.
Yes,
Top
aside from the
tier,
fact,
yes.
aside from the fact that he's the luckiest motherfucker on the planet.
Right.
Like this guy just luck, like completely falls his way, right?
Mm-hmm.
He has excellent political instincts. Like he would know instantly. He knew instantly. I disagree with the strategy he's taken since the assassination attempt, but he knew instantly, okay, this is big.
Right.
Kamala doesn't even know, like, this is big. What is she doing?
Well, I'm glad you brought this up. It's interesting because and I think that her speech today went well, and I think that strategy will work.
Who cares?
It's well, hold on. It's not a new strategy. That's her strategy from 2000. I mean, from 2020, from 4 years ago, when they were running the primary. Okay, so it's literally the same strategy. It's just repeated. I think you're completely correct. She has no political intuition whatsoever, and I think that her staff are all the dumbest people alive. And I wouldn't be surprised. I don't know what like how they're composed. I wonder if it's a DI situation, but her staff is terrible. And it's also could be because, she goes through staff so much. She doesn't really have anyone who's sticking with her that like knows her and knows how to like work with her effectively.
Right.
And there was another, now there's a theory out there. This is obviously completely just speculative, but it's a fun theory. The theory is that I'm sure you heard that Kamala Harris is a drunk. And that she drinks.
Oh,
You don't know about this?
No, but I love it.
Okay,
Tell me more. This is great news.
The theory is like the reason that she laughs and cackles at her own bad jokes and seems like really weird and awkward on stage is because she drinks and she's like drunk. And that's why there's like this weird contrast of when you see her as a senator in a congressional hearing and she seems completely like straight,
she is
put
good.
together,
Yeah.
everything. And then when you see her like being VP, you're like, what the fuck am I looking? It's like a night and day shift. And people are like, well, I don't know, maybe she's drunk. And yeah, I don't know, maybe that's why she's got such high turnover staff. No one wants to deal with her because she's drunk and not really prepared.
Wow.
Who knows? Again, take this with a grain of salt. I don't think there's a single shred of evidence for this whatsoever. It's just like just a vibe out there. But
I did read an article where her staff she was supposed to do some ritzy dinner and she wanted to prepare for it, basically do a mock dinner ahead of time. And they were talking about even including wine in this mock dinner so she could work, being forced to socially drink with people. And the staff ultimately decided that including wine was not a good idea, which makes me think she is a drunk.
There you go.
Like the last thing we want to do is watch Kamala get drunk in front of us. It's bad enough we have to put up with her drunkenness every day in the office.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God.
There was who was it? Someone. Dan Irish sent us this. He sent us that I think is what you're talking about. How there's an article that 2 years ago Harris was the guest for a dinner at DC news mogul David Bradley's home, a salon-style event that he hosts for Washington journalists and newsmakers. She was so anxious about the dinner that she had the mock dinner beforehand with staffers playing participants, which is weird, right? That's very weird for a politician who's been a seasoned politician for, I don't know, however many years, over 10 years, is like, I need to have like a mock dinner. Like, that's bizarre, isn't it?
Well, this plays into your autism theory. I think this is like good evidence that maybe she is autistic. Because who the fuck does this? Right?
I would do it because I'm autistic.
Right. Yeah. Look, a big dinner. I have to be prepared. I wouldn't.
Right.
I would be like, look, I'll lose all the spontaneity in the next night. Right.
Listen, Adam. Okay. When I meet my future Mrs. Sitch, okay, and I'm gonna get ready for a fancy dinner for her parents. I need you to like sit in and pretend to be like her father. All right.
There is rehearsal
Just so I'm
dinner.
prepared.
Usually they do rehearsal dinner with the family, though.
I know. I was just joking.
Yeah. That's cool.
Anyway, but yeah. So I don't know. Maybe she's drunk. Maybe she's autistic. Maybe she's both. Who the fuck knows?
She does sound drunk all the time.
Yeah. See, when you hear that, it kind of is hard to get that out of your head.
Yeah, look, Trump is going to name her Tipsy Kamala, or he's going to come up with some nickname that
It can't
has to
be
do with
too on the
alcohol.
nose. It has to be like sloppy Kamala.
Oh,
Like
that is good.
it can't be too direct because we don't have evidence that she's a drunk. Like, yeah.
Sloppy Kamala. That
But
is
that might
good.
be
That is
too.
gold.
That might be too.
No, it's
I don't know if
perfect.
that's good enough. Well,
No, it's great.
his current nickname for her is stupid. It's
Sloppy
lying.
and sleepy.
Sleepy. Yeah, that would see. There you go. Sleepy Joe and Sloppy Kamala.
Sleepy Joe and Sloppy Kamala. Here they
His
come.
current name for her is Lying Kamala, which I just don't think is very effective.
No, Sloppy's better. Play into
Yeah.
the drunkenness angle. She sounds drunk.
She does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't believe we're coming up with schoolyard bully names now. How politics has changed.
This is what politics is nowadays. Yeah, exactly.
It has. What is Kamala going to come up with a nickname for Trump? I mean, lying Trump seems too obvious at this point.
Convict. I mean, she's just calling him like a felon, a convict.
Yeah.
I don't know. You could spin that into corrupt.
Convicted. They keep dropping that convicted.
Right.
And people will fall for it. That's
They
what
will.
that's Trump's weakness. Trump has surrounded himself with people who see right through that bullshit. So he thinks the world sees right through that bullshit. When really it's only, 10, 20 people deep around him.
Right.
You get outside that bubble and man, everyone's like, oh yeah, he's a convict who praised neo-Nazis and had a white supremacist over to dinner.
Yeah, it would be interesting if the New York case, which in my opinion was kind of bullshit, ends up really harming his reputation just because they can throw the convict label at him. That'd be interesting.
PC for $2 says wine mamala. Yeah, that's a good one.
That's good. I like that. I like that. It's interesting. There's an article. There's some articles that are out that they talk about how the Trump campaign is actually like really like perturbed by Biden dropping out and Kamala being the choice now.
Yeah, I tweeted some of those out, and everyone is super pissed at me right now. I'm getting ratioed so bad on Twitter. It's hilarious.
Oh my God, you're right. I didn't even noticed that's hilarious.
I am, yeah. So I said it's stunning that the Trump team did not plan extensively for Biden to drop out. It became obvious to the American people on the night of Joe Biden's first debate that he was not fit to run for a second term. The Trump team should have been planning for this immediately, right? Which everyone responded to basically saying, oh my God, Adam, you're so fucking stupid. I can't believe you. They knew this was going to happen. This was so obvious. They've completely been expecting this. Everything is going as planned, right? That's their response.
Right.
Which I responded to. People are responding to this tweet saying it's fake news. Were Trump's social media posts kicking the dead corpse of Joe Biden all carefully crafted attacks? If the Trump team was prepared for Biden to step down, I'm surprised they didn't have a more reasonable response. Something uber presidential looking would have been great for Trump's campaign. Right?
Yep. Right.
Look, and I get it. Look, you guys love Trump, okay? And one of the reasons you love Trump is that he's willing to walk up to the dead corpse of Joe Biden and kick his teeth in. Okay. Most people don't think that way. They really don't. They want someone who's going to be the magnanimous king. And the response so far, I think, has been a complete miscalculation. So
yeah, I agree.
But anyway, what were you going to say?
There was that video of him talking with those guys about like Harris being replaced before.
But Trump is a bullshitter.
Yeah.
Like that video just seems like him bullshitting with people.
Right.
Right? I mean, it doesn't. He didn't make a $10,000 bet with anyone in that video, right?
No,
and look, everybody. This is a situation that anyone could easily imagine happening. But I mean, in a well prepared campaign, I would be preparing for that situation. I'd say, look, there's a 40% chance this is going to take place. This is what I'd be saying before the debate, right? Maybe 40, maybe 30% chance Joe Biden is going to drop out. He seems pretty, I mean, they're keeping him out of the public eye. But after that debate, I'm like, okay, there's a 90% chance Joe Biden is going to drop out. You know, how are we going to respond as soon as that happens, right? What is our response going to be?
Right.
Yeah.
You're completely correct. And it's weird because like there was some reporting where they talked to Trump ally, and like it's anonymous, so you could take it like that. But they talked to Trump allies and Trump, people that have consulted for Republicans and Republicans close to Trump, and they were saying that the Trump team was like planning that they thought that Biden could drop out, but they thought once it got to the debate that it was too late for him to drop out. So they had like almost the reverse of what you and I thought.
Really?
Yeah, that they thought once the debate happened, it was too late for him to go. He's just going to stick to it. And I don't. To me, if that's true, if that reporting is true, that shows a huge failure of his advisors, which is weird because, well, I guess not weird because I think his advisor, whoever's advising him for doing like a lot of political stuff, has been doing a good job until the Biden dropped out thing. But that doesn't really, the messaging doesn't really have, I guess, to do with predicting whether Biden's going to stay with it or not. That was a huge mistake. They even said it's kind of funny. They said Trump allies believe that the president's stubborn Irish ego wouldn't let him back out of a fight with a man he despised. I think it was funny. They said his Irish ego.
Well, look, I get that. There was Trump's response when Ruth Bader Ginsburg died was like perfect, totally
Right.
perfect. Everyone expected him to go desecrate the body. He didn't. He was like, very respectful. And it set him up for another Supreme Court, like a smooth nomination process with another Supreme Court justice. I think if Trump came out and was magnanimous with Joe Biden, like he'd win so many older voters. Oh my God.
You're right. Yeah.
Yeah. If he jumped on the Joe Biden's legacy train and,
Well, I don't
look,
think he can
look,
he
he
can't jump on the
obviously,
legacy because he's got to attack the record and associate Kamala with the record.
right. But he could say, I disagree with him. I disagree with every single one of his policies, but he served our country. Look, maybe not. Maybe
That's not. Who are you
talking?
talking about? That's not true. That's not possible.
Okay. Maybe I am.
It's so funny.
Maybe I
As
am
you're saying
dreaming.
it,
Look,
as
I
you're
know.
saying it, you're like, this isn't gonna work.
Yeah, exactly. You're right. Well, he doesn't have to pee on the corpse. That's basically what I'm saying.
No, yes. He could have just been like, I've been
What
saying
is-
that Biden should have dropped out for a long time. He didn't have the energy, the health to stay, and so it's no surprise whatsoever that Biden has dropped out. And now he's got Kamala in here. Kamala's just Biden 2.0. She's all the same thing. Like, there's a way to do it without just being so like his post about it now and his continual post about it today and the previous day. It really feels like he's throwing like a temper tantrum. It's really weird.
Yeah, I guess it's impossible because he's kind of walked himself into a corner with the whole Joe Biden stole the election from him. But he doesn't have that's
to bring
the
it
problem.
up. He could just not bring that up. Because
Right.
if Trump used, he had the assassination attempt on him, and he kind of brings up this message of unity, and I think it's like it was super effective. I think it was super duper effective, and if he just continued that to the election, I think he would be like in a really good place. But this path he's going down now, as soon as Biden drops out, it's weird. It's such a self-sabotage from where he was.
How about this tack? Joe Biden is an innocent victim here, just gaslit by the media. He stole the election from me, but he thought he was doing the right thing.
No,
No. He's got
Joe
nowhere to
Biden
go.
has been personally like the avatar of evil for a lot of people on the right for the last 4 years. So
Right.
you can't
No
go-
sympathy
you-
for the devil.
yeah, you can't have sympathy for him. You can't pat him on the head, but you just kind of ignore it and move forward, right? You just don't really focus on it.
Right.
That's the way to do it. You don't
I'm
focus
just
on it.
trying to figure out how he gets that that magnanimous win that he got with Ruth Bader Ginsburg. But I guess Ruth Bader Ginsburg wasn't just universally hated by everyone on the right.
Well, she was by like right wing pundits, but not like the voters. They probably didn't really know.
Yeah, they
much
didn't know
about
who
her.
she was.
Right,
Yeah.
right. Yeah, and it's obviously different. No, he should have just been, as I said, he should have been like, oh, I said Biden should drop out, and he's dropped out. Right? He could actually frame it like, I predicted this. I said this from the beginning. I said he didn't have it, in him to compete, and he doesn't. Right?
Right.
Which is it's kind of like a jab, but it's not like it's like shitting on the corpse for 24 hours straight.
Biden did the right thing. He's a liar and a cheater, but running, but dropping out was the right thing to do.
Right. And going back to Kamala for a second, it's interesting. I saw Anna, our queen of the show. She actually retweeted this line from a speech that Kamala gave in 2013. It's kind of interesting speech where she was criticizing sort of the leftist maybe notion that instead of building prisons, you should just build more schools. And she's like, well, no, I mean, I'm in favor of building more schools, but you have to be tough on crime. And she said, when there's a violent crime and a serious crime, there should be broad consensus that should be serious and severe and swift consequences to crime, right? And it's so fascinating because you hear this from like 2013 and you're like, it really shows you how infected the Democrats have become by like woke dog shit. Like in 2013, you have Kamala being like, I'm tough on crime. And then it's like BLM stuff. Oh my God, I have to set up like a bail fund for fucking criminals because I'm a fucking idiot and a psycho now. Like it really is sad to me. It really shows the complete collapse of the Democrat Party into just pandering to like woke garbage.
Well, all the George Floyd stuff made them conceptualize all criminals as innocent victims,
Yes.
which
Is
is insane. Very
Right.
much insane. So,
Do you think what are the chances Kamala's going to try to pivot back to being 2013 Kamala?
that's a tough one. Are we
I think
talking
low.
about drunk Kamala or are we talking about sober Kamala?
Sober Kamala.
Okay.
Kamala.
Like sober Kamala definitely should pivot back to that.
Maybe that's
drunk
why she's drunk
Kamala,
all
I'm
the
not
time.
sure. Oh, because she's so demoralized with
Yes.
herself.
Yes, that she has to like repeat all this BLM woke shit. That's why she drinks all the time.
Right.
She's sold out. She's like, I can't do it.
I was putting these criminals behind bars. Now I can't do anything. My hands are tied. My hands are tied by the voters.
Oh, and I guess the last thing I want to talk about before we move on to the Secret Service stuff is related to this. That like there's this weird there's like all these rumors flying. So many of them are so stupid. And one of them was they're like, oh my God, Joe Biden, signed some memorandum that delegated powers to the Secretary of Treasury. And so this shows you that like the Secretary of Treasury is like, or I'm sorry, this shows you that Biden is not really in control anymore. He's like trying to give all his presidential powers away to the cabinet. And people were like freaking out about this. And I looked at this and I read it. And all it does is it just says that in order to do various functions of a law, which is the law that allows the US government to confiscate assets from Russia, from Russians and other, people related to Russia to basically give to Ukraine. All it says is that in order to do that, the president authorizes the Secretary of State to have, the power invested in the executive branch, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, I bet you that's what the president just writes whenever the cabinet members have to do literally anything. And I looked it up, and that's what the president writes whenever the cabinet members have to do literally anything. And I even found in 2017 a memorandum from Donald Trump doing the exact same thing, just authorizing the Secretary of the Treasury to, enact whatever laws have been passed by Congress through the executive branch. So if you see any of that stuff, that's all just fake news nonsense.
Good to know. Definitely.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't want
Let's
to
read
spread
some-
any fake news.
Right. Let's read some supers before we talk about the Secret Service stuff, which is pretty fascinating. Um, Metalworks 41190 for $5 says I was listening to the call at 2 times speed. And I thought Biden sounded fine until I went to normal speed, and oh god, dude is speaking at 0.25. Yeah, exactly.
True.
Red Toa for $20. Thank you. Says it's time to speak about the real issue everyone is too afraid to admit. Sitch and Adams' Trump impression is terrible. Absolutely
know.
terrible. How can we take anything they say seriously until they address this pertinent issue? Wow.
I am going to work on that. I'm going to watch some Trump speeches. I got to tell you, though, if in my research I become MAGA 2024, you guys got to back me up. So
wow.
yeah.
You're gonna be like, you're gonna go Jim Carrey, like Andy Kaufman study of Trump, just so you can
Yes.
get the impression
Just
down.
so I can get my impression down perfectly.
Yeah. And all of a sudden you're like, oh, wait a minute. I love this guy. He's great. He's wonderful. He's stupendous. Everyone's been telling me he's the best. And now I finally see it.
A lot of people are saying this guy is amazing.
Twitter, I'm just jumping around to ones that are relevant. I'll come back to the ones that are not relevant at the end. Twitter Socks for $2 says Kamala speaks like a 7-year-old impersonating MLK.
True. Oh, that's so
I never
good.
thought about that. Is she doing like an MLK speech cadence impression? I have to listen to it again with that.
We have to be unburdened by what has been.
Oh God.
Someone stole my has-been joke. I was like, holy cow. Who stole? I can't remember who it was.
I saw that.
Someone big though. I was like, oh geez, already steal my material here.
It's kind of hilarious because like the media, as I predicted, has like really jumped hardcore on slurping Kamala.
Oh, of course.
On schlicking Kamala really well.
Yeah.
And it's so fucking cringe. Oh my god. All the coconut people like coconut pill and the whole brat thing. I don't know if you saw the whole brat
I did,
thing.
yeah.
Oh my, I was like, listen, I know I said I wasn't gonna vote, but the media's gonna make me vote for Trump out of spite just because of the cringe. It's so bad. I was like, oh, this is so terrible.
Look at this. Sitch the cringe is so horrible. Sitch is contemplating voting for Trump now.
I'm like, oh God.
Look, mark this stream. This is a shot heard around the world right here.
Well, this is what happens. I see all the Kamala cringe. That should be her nickname, Kamala cringe.
Oh yeah.
The Kamala cringe is so strong. It's not even anything she's doing. It's like people's reaction to her, and it's so performative. It's so fake. Like the coconut stuff is so lame. The dancing thing is so lame. And it's like, this is something I can't stand. This is just personally me. I can't stand when I see a crowd of people. This drives me crazy. When I see a crowd of people all coalesce around something that they all know is a fucking lie. Right.
Ooh,
and they might not know it consciously. Right. They might not know it on a conscious level, but on some unconscious level, there's a part of them that knows this is bullshit. Right. And so it's like, so when I see like the Kamala cringe and the people like the forced memes, it's like, oh God, it just makes me like cement my hatred towards so much of like the Zoomer culture. I'm like, guys, this is so terrible. I'm like, I'm like, this is making me feel like I should vote for Trump just to spite these people. And then I spend 5 minutes talking to like a Trump glazer on Twitter, and I immediately get turned off from that idea. So
I know
it doesn't matter.
It's perpetually bad for us because there's really we cringe at both teams when both teams are doing the let's gaslight ourselves into thinking we're safe from all sides.
So
it just doesn't work on me.
No.
So I did watch the Bratz video, and so Bratz means kind of messy and sometimes says dumb things, and I'm like, I mean, how does that not describe Trump? I mean,
is that what that means? I was like, it's like that never just. I hate the Zoomer.
Kind of messy means like, disorganized and stuff.
Yes.
And look, that completely describes Trump. These are like,
it's true.
These are the same candidate with different policies.
But brat sounds like feminine. You don't want to give that to like Trump.
Oh, of course not. Yeah.
So
Trump would not want that. But
you think of like there's like a cartoon show and a toy line for little girls in the 90s called Bratz.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, no, this election just became the girls against the boys. That's why I'm thinking, you're saying it's a terrible idea, but I'm like, I'm fully prepared for the simulation to give us a big old winky face
Oh no, please.
and be
I don't
like,
want girls versus boys
I
election.
pick Gretchen
Oh, no.
Whitmer.
No, please. Please. No.
Oh man.
Oh god.
It's gonna be Whitmer versus JD Vance debate. Oh
You know, it's funny too. I didn't listen to the whole thing. I listened to the first 20 minutes of Gretchen Whitmer on the Breakfast Club. 'Cause
Oh,
said,
so you did
know,
listen to it, yeah.
Yeah, I didn't. But like the first 10, 15, 20 minutes, all they talk about is the fact that when she was in high school, she would like get drunk and pass out, get in trouble.
Yes.
And I was like, oh my God. And it's funny because, like, on one hand, it is like humanizing.
It's
I
relatable.
guess.
It's totally
It's
relatable.
Yeah. But then I laugh now because I'm thinking about it in terms of like the accusations against Kamala. So if she's the VP, you're like, oh my God, we have the drunk ticket.
Exactly.
We have the wino mom ticket.
Look, it works for Critical Drinker. Why don't you think it'll work
There
for...
you go.
I mean, people like to drink, Sitch. I hate to spoil it for you.
Okay.
People like party animals.
Oh, so I made a meme comic yesterday.
You made that? That's amazing. I'll bring it up.
That,
yeah.
yes. I made that meme comic yesterday.
It's perfect. I love it.
It's now my most popular tweet of all time.
No way, really? I know.
Yes.
I retweeted it. I was like,
hilarious.
"Oh, this is great."
It's at 38,000 likes.
Really?
So crazy, yeah.
Let's see here.
There
see
you
if
go.
I can. Oh wow, that thing kind of blew up, didn't it?
It did, yeah. I had to turn off notifications on it real quick. So if anyone was triggered and yelling at me, I only saw a few of it before I could not. There's just floods. So
that's hilarious.
you
I'll
go.
bring it up. It's a definite amazing meme.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well worth the
15
minute and a
minutes
half
to make
that
it.
you took. Yeah, exactly.
It took 15 minutes. Okay, it took a whole 15 minutes to get the little Wojak faces and everything.
Sitch doesn't have Photoshop or Clip Studio or anything. You probably had to do it in like Microsoft Paint.
I did it in Microsoft Paint. There.
Did you really?
No, I didn't. I did not.
So he says some people are at a loss that Biden dropped out. And here's the meme here. It's 4 panels, and it says the first panel is Biden is too mentally out of it to be president. And that's a MAGA Wojak. Yeah. And then the second panel is the presidential debate against Donald Trump and Joe Biden. And then the third panel is a MAGA bro and a Biden bro. And the Biden bro says, I agree, Biden should drop out. And then the fourth panel is a MAGA bro is like, coup. Oh my God. No. And that is kind of what we're witnessing, right? Right before our eyes.
Yep. Well, there's an element to this.
He pisses his pants too. I just noticed
he's peeing his pants. Yeah.
Sitch went above and beyond in this.
I did. There's a meme here that you're unfamiliar with, which maybe is why this is very successful. There's how's
this affect your secret Trump supporter cred? I wonder.
I think it shattered it into a million pieces. Not that I even would remotely think for a second that any of the brain dead leftists and DGG would even accept any of that. But there's one of the most famous comics of all time, Adam, is called Loss. And it features 4 panels, and it was like a comedy. The backstory for the boomers out there, the backstory is that this was a comedy comic, and then it featured a very out of nowhere like miscarriage comic that was so bizarre and poorly like done that it became a meme. And so people meme on the structure of the characters in the paneling in Loss. And so it's always like one person in the first panel, 2 people in the second panel, where the person on the left is slightly elevated, 2 people in the third panel, and then the fourth panel is 1 person standing and then the second person laying down. And so so I've copied the Loss meme formula for you, Adam.
Okay, so
I know you didn't get that.
So that might be why this is so popular, because
that's part of why it's so popular. Yes,
part of the framing device.
Part of the meme. Yes.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. That's awesome.
I know me explaining the meme is very cringy, but I figured to the boomers out there that
no, I think it's good. Yeah. So this 4 panel The framing of the 4 panels is the same. The kind of reaction
Yes.
shots are similarly.
Yes.
Yeah, no, it's good. I like it.
So
I
there you
like
go.
taking all the anti-centrist memes and recasting them.
I'm sure this will get me a whole $10 on Twitter.
So recast. Are you monetized on Twitter for real? Oh
Of
my
course.
goodness!
But
Wow.
you get so little. It's like ridiculous.
I haven't monetized just because, like, yeah.
I mean, the only reason it's even worth is it basically just pays for Twitter Blue.
Oh, okay, that's smart.
So it's
Yeah.
like I just get. Thank you, Majin. Majin just said you're a dork explaining loss. Thank you.
But no,
I felt bad
I
for
like it.
the boomers out there. Don't know what's going on.
Yes.
Okay,
You didn't
I'm
feel
doing a
bad
service.
enough not to call us boomers, but anyway.
That's true. Anyways, moving on. Metalface Rose for Tour says she'd never do this, but what if she picked Yang? That would be
Oh
fun.
man.
Right.
Sitch is voting as soon as that happens, but I don't know. There's some
Well-
big study that came out that supposedly throws UBI under the bus that was done by
It's kind of weird. We'll have to look into it more. Sam Altman
Sam Altman. That's it.
of ChatGPT OpenAI did a
Fame.
very big 3-year UBI study. The results are kind of mixed. So
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
yeah.
Everyone's
dig
sending it to
into
me going, look, it's over, Adam. Got to
Right.
jump off the UBI train.
Well,
I'm reading this book that's kind of making me second guess. Well, I've never really had a firm opinion on whether or not UBI would work. My
Mhm.
skepticism is that a lot of these tests that they're doing ignore the universal part of it. So I don't think you can really do a test unless it is universal. But I'm reading this book. It's on like the history of class
Mhm.
in America, and it's basically making me think, oh yeah, most people are kind of lazy pieces of shit. So I'm not I'm not sure if UBI would work or not. That's always been my position. I'm not sure if it would work.
Right.
So, but I'm fascinated
Well-
that someone's actually done a study.
the study, the same Altman study, it was studying people's reaction to getting the check and how they react to it psychologically
Oh,
versus a
interesting.
control group of people who don't get the check. In terms of like their economic outcomes and their psychological outcomes and their health outcomes. Obviously, it doesn't track, which many people brought up. It's not testing to see what the overall effects on the economy would be, because one of the critiques of UBI is that if everyone got it, it would cause inflation or raise the price cap or something like that. When obviously this study wouldn't have the potential to test any of that whatsoever. So
Yeah. This is the interesting thing about the economy, because I don't know that we really know what the upper limit of the production level of the economy is. I mean, I've read studies where most producers are only functioning at 50% capacity. Like they could double capacity if there was the demand for it.
Mhm.
So that's an interesting question. Like if GDP is, 3% and everyone is running at half capacity, could we get GDP up to 6% at any given time if everyone just doubled capacity? Like are people really lazing out that much?
I don't know.
Yeah. Or are we just, yeah. Anyway.
Mr. R.J. Snowden for $10 says Sitch needs his mamala. There you go. Love you,
Oh,
Sitch.
yeah.
Thank you. Grammatron 3000 for $2 says box wine Aunt Kamala. I like it. Libertarian Sasquatch for $2 says who's less charismatic, Kamala or Hillary? Oh, Hillary. That's easy.
Oh, yeah. By a
That's easy.
landslide.
Yeah, by a landslide. Twitter Sucks for $20. Thank you. Says, how is her being a prosecutor going to be an effective argument? She held prisoners beyond their sentence. I like the picture you brought up. Jailed people for smoking weed and blocked evidence that freed an inmate on death row. She's a corrupt prosecutor. So all that stuff, like the people that would care about all that stuff are people on the left. And that so it's a good left-wing attack on her. I don't think it's a good right-wing attack on her. I don't think that many people on the right are super concerned with those sorts of things. And people on the left, they do this thing. Well, to be fair, everyone does this thing. But what the people on the left are doing right now with Kamala, because they're so pumped for her to save them from Donald Trump is that they're just going to like turn off their brain and ignore anything bad that Kamala's ever done ever in her existence. You could have like a video of her like stepping on a puppy and it would just vanish. And they'll just say, whatever, she's going to save us from Donald Trump. It doesn't matter. So all the bad stuff that she did as prosecutor will all just, I think, in my opinion, will all just get kind of ignored by the left. The right doesn't really care that much about it anyway. And she'll just keep hitting this. Donald Trump is a criminal, and I'm here to, clean up Washington. So
Didn't the left elect a stroke patient to the Senate? I mean, and they were fully ready to vote for Dementia Joe. So
that's true.
Yeah, nobody cares. They don't care.
Libertarian Sasquatch for $5 says, I feel like there's been a lot of cope from both sides. Think this is all part of the plan. Dems are like, she's the strongest black lady of all time. There you go. Stargate 404 for $2 says, Kahlua Kamala. That's good. That's good. I don't know if enough people know what Kahlua is, but that's good.
Yeah.
A Very Horse for $2 says, as long as you can call her Kamala, he'll be fine. That's funny. No Step on Snake for $20. Thanks so much. Says Trump is butthurt that he doesn't get a 2020 do-over again against Biden. I mean, he does seem really upset that he doesn't get the easy layup. So, which I'm like, it's understandable, but I think it's a bad look.
It is a horrible look. Yeah. It just, for me, it comes off as, I mean, you wanted an easy win.
Oh, look at this. JWC72155 says there is a COVID outbreak in the elderly population right now. Stroke-like symptoms are what we are seeing the most. Source, I'm a paramedic. Oh, I had no idea. I know that there was a big COVID outbreak because obviously I got COVID. I didn't know that in elderly people it caused stroke-like symptoms. That's interesting. Wow.
Okay, so it just might be COVID. Might be the latest strain of COVID.
Interesting. Actually, my grandma had some like stroke like thing recently. I wonder if it was from COVID too. Interesting.
I watched a video from ZDog MD. So this information is from him. Blame him if it's incorrect, but
right.
He was saying that every single common cold that there is a coronavirus, and that there are several of them. He goes and says like there's 8, like he knows them all from being a doctor or whatever. And he's like, every single one of these coronaviruses starts as a pandemic, and then the virus mutates to the point where it's safe. It just wants to spread. It doesn't want to kill you. So it can stay in the population, this equilibrium it strikes. So people are still going to be running around doing COVID tests and being like, oh my God, I have COVID, when, I mean, it's just the same kind of common cold that anyone might get.
Well, yes and no. So obviously coronavirus, or COVID, I should say, specifically, has significantly weakened its strength to be less lethal than when it first came out.
True.
Of that Chinese lab, probably. But it's still different than whatever the coronavirus that was the common cold was that people got. I mean, it's been still kind of like I lost my sense of smell and my sense of taste, and it's only coming back, now. And this has been hanging on, for, even though I'm like, I feel fine, it's still like slightly hanging on. So it's still like different. I still think it's still like a different thing than, just a normal cold that kind of goes away in like a day or two.
It's still more severe.
Yeah.
You think we're still in that process of it becoming less severe?
I hope it becomes less severe, and it's just not a thing that's forever just like a super obnoxious cold we just have to deal with for the rest of our lives.
Right. Look, and that could be true. In 10 years, the COVID-19 is what they're officially calling it, right? In 10 years, maybe COVID-19 is the kind of thing that just goes away in 2 days. So,
right.
Yeah.
It says about 20% of the common cold people get are from coronaviruses, 10 to 40% is from rhinoviruses, and 20% are from RSV and para-influenza.
Okay, yeah. So
there you go.
Cold is just the common term
for like cough, sneeze,
right,
sore throat.
So I didn't know there's the coronaviruses, and then there's another one, rhinovirus.
Rhinovirus is, yeah.
But I think a flu is something Is flu? I'm not even sure flu is a virus, right?
Flu's a virus, isn't it?
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know which virus specifically, but
I always think of flu as a stomach thing and cold as a nasal thing.
well, stomach flu is stomach flu different from normal flu?
Maybe.
Influenza is a virus. Yes, influenza virus.
Oh
There
yeah.
you go.
All right.
Interesting. Okay. Okay. Learning things every day.
Well,
Righteous indifference.
I think it's interesting because you're going. It seems like the Democrats are forever going to be casting COVID as lethal, even though it's going to get less and less and less lethal as time goes on. But it seems like in their minds from the pandemic, they're always going to be like, "This is some serious shit."
What is
Right?
weird? I mean, I don't know what if this wave of outbreak has caused a big problem with the elderly community. I don't know.
Well,
So
I think a significant numbers in the elderly community die every year from the flu. That's why they tell
Yes.
them all to get flu shots.
Yes,
So
I know.
it's
Right.
not like that's
Is it
not
is it an
happening.
increase from normal or not? Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Is the question. Righteous indifference for 14 months says the proper response for Trump would be, quote, I applaud Joe Biden for choosing not to run. He's clearly unwell, and I look forward to facing his puppeteers. There you go.
Ooh, that is great. Yes.
That's a great, simple line. Yeah.
That is great.
Look,
Yes.
you should be hired by the Trump campaign. Righteous indifference. Luke Nagel for $5 says the only person in my highly liberal family that likes Kamala is my neurotic aunt who listens to NPR on on a handheld radio 10 hours a day. Well, there you go. She's getting drip fed the propaganda, right?
Yeah. How
So,
can you escape that?
I think well, and touch back with this, Luke. I think over the next month you'll see your family start to your highly liberal family start to sing praise of Kamala as time goes on. Let's see. Thank you so much, Jasu, for I always say your name wrong. Thanks so much for joining the Free Will Secrets. Sketch for $5 says the newest conspiracy is that it's not Biden's voice on the call, that it was made with 11 Labs AI. Yeah, I saw that. Someone threw it through one of the filters or one of the AI tests or something, and they claimed it said it was from 11 Labs. It doesn't sound like an AI voice to me at all. Not only does it not have the AI voice quality, but it has that super weird stroke lisp, which why the fuck would that be in an AI model? So that doesn't make sense to me. And also, we just saw him, so I don't think that's the case. Suck for $5 says I kind of think we're at a point where you can just artificially memory hole any controversy with your voting base. I think you're 1000% correct, Doug. Yeah.
Yes. And the opposite party will be singing about it all the time, but it will make zero effect on the election.
True. Oxy for $5 says anytime people start chanting, I feel exactly like Sitch does about Kamala cringe. Make it stop with one exception. USA chants are based. True.
Who? They're never going to be chanting USA, USA at a
Kamala
rally. Get out of here.
Yeah.
Maybe it's like, fuck USA, fuck USA. Maybe they
There you
chant
go.
that.
Tamite for $10 says, I don't think Kamala is the person the Dems really needed. She has consistently pulled worse than Biden, and her record is very, very poor. Her debate in 2020 is proof enough that when Tulsi torpedoed her, you are sort of correct, but I think it's, again, the amount of like joy that Biden has been replaced, I think will overcome all of that. All Kamala has to do now, again, Kamala could totally fuck this up. Okay. But she's got to hang on till October. If she can just maintain energy until October, she's golden.
If she can stop drinking until October.
If she can stop drinking, right, she can stop day drinking until October, she'll be solid. Now, I know it's a lot to ask, so she could very well sabotage herself. We could be back here in 2 weeks and be like, oh my God, it's Kamala over. What a disaster. But right now, she's riding the high. We'll see if she can maintain it.
Yeah.
Edward Sr. for $2 says, is Kamala more of an OSHA or a May? Oh, that's the $1 million question.
What is the difference between OSHA and May?
Well, OSHA's happy-go-lucky, but then turns out to be evil, and May is just evil.
But Meg, doesn't Meg get her memory
And then
wiped and
gets her memory wiped, becomes
become
nothing.
happy
Yeah.
go lucky?
You're right. You're right. Yeah. Becomes a nothing.
Who cares?
I'm gonna say Kamala is more like Darth Plagueis hiding in the cave
Oh,
watching he's
watching Joe
cre-
Biden waiting for him to
creeping on
die.
Joe Biden, yeah, waiting for the moment to strike. Sparta's tech reviews for $2 says call Trump cell block T. That sounds good. That sounds too badass. That's the opposite of what Kamala would want to do. Phoenix for $5 says, do I think Trump has a chance of losing legitimately? Yeah, sure. Against Kamala? Yeah, no. No, I think you're mistaken. I think he definitely has a very good shot of losing against Kamala. Koala Sciences for €5. Thank you. Says Mamala literally means suck it in Spanish.
No way.
That's true.
That's
You might
amazing.
imagine the fun Hispanics are having with Kamala Harris. LOL. That's pretty good.
Suck it, Harris.
Libertarian
Terrible.
Sasquatch for two. Yeah, that's pretty good. Libertarian Sasquatch for 2 says, what about Kamala Harris? I don't.
Kabbalah?
Kabbalah. I don't think. I think
Oh, Gabala?
no
Like
Kabbalah.
gobble? Oh.
Kabbalah Harris, like the Jewish mysticism. Yeah, I don't know if that would swing real well. I think that would get Trump in a little bit of trouble. Cameraman 502 for 17 months says problem for Kamala is she'll have the Biden record as her albatross. She can't be the change candidate since she's a VP. I disagree. I mean, I agree with you that you're correct. She will have this albatross. I disagree in terms of I think I think that the memory holding capacity of the left will be strong enough to completely distance her from the problems of the Biden administration.
And there's a huge I don't want to vote for Trump constituency out there that they were cock blocking by putting up a corpse. They were like, well, I don't want to vote for a corpse either. Like, what the heck? Right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of, that's the thing about the people who love Donald Trump. They just, I mean, their enthusiasm is so great. It blinds them to the fact that there is equal and opposite enthusiasm for people who hate Trump,
Right.
hate his guts.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, I guess we should try to be like holding off too, also because like the energy and support for Kamala right now is going to be the highest it's going to be at this moment. And like,
Well,
in the
it has
Democratic
to
Party.
look. It has to go higher for her to win, and I think it could actually go higher if she starts doing good speeches that are, motivating people. Like
No,
if
no,
she
yeah, you're
starts
talking about,
turning
like-
into Barack Obama, it's like
Right.
over, right?
You're
The
talking about in
question
terms
is
of,
whether or
like-
not she can do that.
You're talking about in terms of like the broad support from the voting base. I'm talking about like from like the elite donor class and everything.
Oh yeah,
This is-
yeah.
This
You're
is like
right.
the highest it's going to be, and this is the highest like suck up you're probably going to get from those people in the media. I mean, unless of course she just becomes magically an amazing orator, which I'm skeptical will happen.
Yeah.
I think it'll only go down. But so we'll have to kind of check back in 2 weeks to see when that cools off where we're at, and if she's able to maintain positive energy or if she just crashes and burns.
Yeah, we should watch a couple of speeches from, obviously, Barack Obama was thought to be a great orator. Even people on the right who despised him realized, okay, well, this guy, I see what's going on here.
Mhm.
Like, George Bush was thought to be a terrible orator. Donald Trump is thought to be a good orator and funny. He's got
But
that going for
the
him.
people on the left don't acknowledge it though.
Look, and that, what it's the rule of moral psychology, morality binds and blinds. That's the
Yeah.
problem here. A lot of
Yes.
people, like they hate Trump. It's impossible for them to see him as funny. They hate Barack Obama. It's impossible for them to see him as a great orator. They see him as a dictator, right?
Mhm.
How dare you, Adam, say that he's a great orator? People who can see past that, they see the reality of the situation. They can see it from multiple perspectives. They can watch that speech and go, I understand what appeals about this to the unbiased viewer. I understand why this person is going to get those independent voters. It would be interesting to look at a Obama speech and a Trump speech and kind of dissect what is working here. Like, why I don't recall Barack Obama laughing at his own jokes, kind of cackling uncomfortably at his own jokes. It just Kamala, it seems like she's laughing to try to put aside some sort of like discomfort in herself or the audience. And I think that's what's not working about it. I
Well,
think she would
obviously,
be
that's
great.
yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, Obama was extremely funny. Like he would say a zinger and the crowd would laugh out loud. But Obama just would kind of like, you'd see him snicker, but you wouldn't really see him make an audible noise. He'd
Well,
like
he would say
smile.
something. Yeah, he would say something funny, and then smile, and then the audience laughs, right? Which is always a good cue because then it's like he's on the same page with the audience.
Right,
Where
exactly.
if Kamala is sort of cackling at something unfunny that she said,
Right.
then
And the
people won't
audience
really
is
find
dead
it funny.
silence. And they're like,
Right.
what are you laughing at, you wino?
Yeah, then it's like, oh, she's just day drinking again.
Right. A box of wine falls from behind the lectern and like starts leaking off the stage. You're like,
Exactly.
okay, something is
Right.
not presidential about this picture here.
Yes, yeah.
Something is not working. Yeah.
Not quite.
Everybody's
So.
been posting clips of Trump. Like Trump is just, I mean, he's a stand-up comedian. The stuff he does is hilarious. Yeah. So, and I think a lot of the reason why people are super biased about it is they know that's a devastating combination in a politician. So they can't laugh at the joke because they're like, oh my God, he's gaslighting everyone. They love him. He's going to be my president for another 4 years.
Okay, well, before we run out of time, we got to talk about the Secret Service, Adam.
Yes, let's talk about it.
Okay. So yesterday was the big congressional hearing where they brought the Secret Service head to Congress to answer the questions of why she did such a shitty job, or why the Secret Service did such a shitty job protecting Donald Trump.
Right.
Okay.
And she said, look, I don't like Trump.
Director Kimberly Cheeto. So I listened to the whole thing. I don't know if you listened to it.
Oh, you did?
I did. Yeah.
Good for you.
Well, I like 2 times speed. She did so fucking bad. It was shocking.
Mm-hmm.
It was, and it's funny, someone actually in Congress brought this up, and I thought they brought it up in a very needlessly stupid political way, but they were 100% correct. They literally said, your performance is on par or worse with the president of Harvard.
No way.
Who came before
no
here.
way.
Yes, who came before here and was like, couldn't denounce anti-Semitism. And I was like, that's really like lame that he brought it up, but fuck if that's not true. Because oh my God, it was on par of that performance. It was that level of terribleness. And
you can't fire me. I'm a woman.
It was so baffling because like obviously it's been 9 days, or it was 9 days yesterday.
Oh yeah.
Since the incident, and like basically she said nothing. I don't think, unless I miss it, I don't think there was a single piece of new information that was communicated in that entire hearing whatsoever.
Wow.
At all. It was crazy. And like to her defense, okay, number one, some of the people at the hearing asked stupid questions. I mean, there's a lot of grandstanding, obviously, as there is at all these congressional hearings, but some of them asked stupid questions that she wouldn't know the answer to because they'd ask like the FBI is doing the investigation into the shooter. And so she's not going to have information about the investigation about like motivation and things of that nature about the shooter and his plans and all that stuff, because that's not her wheelhouse. And that's
of course,
fine,
but she
right?
sure
That's
as hell should know everything that went on with the Secret Service.
exactly right. And that's, yeah, so it's fine that she doesn't know about that stuff. And it's even fine if she gives specific answers where she says, I don't want to say this in public for XYZ reason, for security reason, but I'd be happy to tell you guys in private this information, right?
Oh my gosh, that's a great response.
That would be, yeah, that'd be a completely acceptable answer, right? She didn't fucking do that. She would just be like, I don't know. You're like, okay, it's been 9. Like, listen, I understand it taking the FBI more than 9 days to like find out everything they want from this guy, because you gotta get all these witnesses, you gotta take all their testimony, you gotta hack into his phone, you gotta hack into his computer, you gotta like comb through his history. Also, it's gonna take a lot of time to do. I understand why police investigations of that nature take a lot of time. This, on the other hand, the investigation into the failure of the Secret Service, the only reason that would take a lot of time is because all the people that you're talking to in the Secret Service are going to be lying to you, okay? And stonewalling you because they're all going to want to cover their own fucking asses. It should all be fairly clear. It's very simple what she should have done day 2, okay? She knows, or should know if she's competent, who is the person that A, signed off on the plan that day for the Trump protection team, and who is the person that planned the Trump protection team. And then the third person is who was the person on the field that day in charge. And you bring those people into your office one at a time, and you sit them there and you say, you're going to tell me everything that happened or I will annihilate you. Okay. Because you want to get to the bottom of this. That doesn't take 9 days.
Yeah.
And the fact that she seemed to have no information about why the fuck the Secret Service had such a failure whatsoever with having people not be on the water tower, with having people not be on top of the roof, with the slow reaction time and everything, with the breakdown of communication between the police and the Secret Service. The fact that she had no information whatsoever is insane, is fucking insane. And it comes across like this, that this person is a liar and that they are protecting either their own ass or someone above them's ass. That is 100% how it came off. And it was crazy because, like, and I made a meme about it too, both the Democrats and the Republicans were just beating the crap out of her. They're just holding her down and taking turns punching her. There was finally, Adam, we had unity in our government. Okay?
Nice. Yeah, I love it.
We finally had unity between the Democrats and Republicans. They could both have a shared enemy. They had their Ozymandias watchman squid, and it was the head of the Secret Service. They both took turns pummeling her into the ground. And they, on both sides, they both called for her to resign. Okay. This is how poor, let's see, I have it somewhere.
I don't get the calling for them to resign. Fire their ass. Like, why do you want to call for them to resign? Just fire them.
I think there's some logistical thing about why it's easier for them to resign than to just be straight up fired.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if it's easier.
I agree.
Fire them.
Okay.
Yeah, this was completely insane.
This is how bad this is. The ranking Republican and ranking Democrat on the committee signed a joint letter afterwards to get her fired. All right.
Yeah. And she has been fired now, right? Or did she?
She has resigned. She resigned today.
Oh, she finally resigned.
She resigned today. Yeah. So this is the letter. They say, on July 13th, 2024, the United States Secret Service, under your leadership, failed to protect former Donald Trump from an assassination attempt that took the life of Corey Coppertor and seriously injured at least 2 other people. Today, you failed to provide answers to basic questions regarding the stunning operational failure and to reassure the American people that the Secret Service has learned its lessons and began to correct the systemic blunders and failures. In the middle of a presidential election, the committee and the American people demand serious institutional accountability and transparency you're not providing. We call on you to resign as director as a first step to allowing new leadership to swiftly address this crisis and rebuild the trust of a truly concerned Congress and the American people.
Hey, look, you got an innocent citizen killed, okay? At least out of respect for the family. Fire this lady.
Yeah.
Fire her.
Yeah. So, no, her performance was so embarrassingly bad. And I don't believe for a second she doesn't know the answers to these questions.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to ask you. I'm like, okay, she does exactly like you say. She pulls everyone in separate rooms, right? She's cross-examining them. She's telling them, look, they've already ratted you out. You might as well just tell me everything, okay? And it comes to light, they're all drinking cocktails before the thing, right? They're all blasted. They're treating it like it's just a day in the park. They're partying it up, right? They're with Donald Trump hanging out. Like, how do you go in front of Congress and say, Madam Congresswoman, everyone was drunk. You can't say that. What is the proper response?
The proper response to why this happened, like the failure.
No, if that is actually what happened, like it was just, extreme incompetence, okay, to the level that people were actually drunk on the job.
If you find a person that, like, yes, she's responsible as the boss, but then you find the person that's responsible, like on the ground management for that, and you annihilate them,
Right.
You blast them,
Right.
You rip them to shreds,
Right.
Okay?
You public
hold them up to
execution for them.
sacrifice.
Right.
You hold them up as a sacrifice to the congressional gods and say, this is the bad one to rip to shreds.
Right.
And
yeah.
because like people were asking, like some of the people were asking dumb questions, but some of the people were asking very pertinent questions. Like when they're talking to her, she doesn't have any information, which we all believe is a lie. Cause you're like, okay, either she's lying or she's the most incompetent fucking person on the planet not to have any of the information after 9 days, which is possible. She's just a fucking retard. Even though she's been, I think, working in the Secret Service for like over 20 years, so you wouldn't think such a thing.
Oh, of course.
But
look, these people fail up.
Maybe. I don't know. But then the people you've been asking, like, okay, well, like, if you don't have any of these answers, like, who was the person that planned this operation in the Secret Service?
And get them in here. Let us talk to them.
Like, exactly. Because it's like, well, we need to get them in here. And she was like fucking hemming and hawing and being so evasive to that question. It's like, what? Like, I don't know why she was doing this. Like, she got to protect everyone under her. And this is like what's sickening to me. She was so obviously, clearly protecting people that worked for her or her boss or both. And the thing is, like, okay, loyalty can be good, but when your function is literally just to provide safety and security to presidents, ex-presidents, other people in government officials, that's the priority. The priority isn't you protecting the ass of some fuck up above you or beneath you that caused the problem in the first place. Okay?
That's called corruption, Sitch.
That is corruption. And that this woman, I'm going to say, is a piece of shit. Okay. The fact that she's either horribly incompetent or lying to Congress about this, she's a fucking piece of shit. And that's why everyone in Congress was so like just disgusted with her behavior. It was wild. It was crazy.
Yeah. Well, she's gone now, finally. Enough public pressure. But we still don't have any answers, right?
No, we have no answers. One of the other questions that was being asked a lot, that was asked before this, was, there's a claim that Trump had been asking for additional security and it was being denied.
Right. Yeah.
And so they would ask her this, and she would answer the question very carefully. She would say, well, they did not ask for additional security on that day, right? Or for that event, It's funny because some of the Congress people were like, well, you're answering this question like very, very hyper specifically. Like, I'm not asking you if it's for this event. Have they asked in general? And then she'd be like hyper evasive about it, which makes it sound like, yes, they were asking and it was being denied for some reason, which makes it think like she is protecting possibly Mayorkas, who is the Department of Homeland Security Secretary, who I believe is kind of the overseer of all this stuff.
She was the one that was saying, don't give them the resources.
Or maybe it was her. Well, maybe it was her. It could have been. People were pointing the finger at Mayorkas for that, though. So I don't know. I don't know exactly where the thing is. And then she didn't really have a clear answer for like the sloped roof thing, which is like, why the fuck did she say that in the first place? Which is weird.
Oh yeah, it was a safety hazard to be up on a sloped roof. Obviously,
right.
They couldn't go up there.
Right.
They don't have boots. They're all working in high heels. Look, half the detail's female.
Yes. Now, there is a claim here from Josh Hawley. Now, I don't think Josh Hawley is a credible source of information, so we'll take this with a grain of salt until it's confirmed. But he's claiming that he has a whistleblower that has contacted his office that is claiming that the reason they didn't put someone on top of the roof was because a person actually was supposed to be there and was specifically signed to be on the roof, but they abandoned their post because it was too hot.
Well, okay.
Okay. So if that's true, that needs to come out, obviously, because that's insane. And that means that person directly
got someone
died.
killed. Yeah.
Yeah. Because Donald Trump got shot and that person directly died. Two other people got shot because some fucking idiot was whoever they were, if they don't know Secret
was
Service or police or
uncomfortable.
whoever,
Yeah.
was like, oh, it's too hot for me to be out here. They couldn't get an umbrella or something, or just get some water and not be a bitch about it. So,
Ugh.
and she
Yeah,
didn't
we
answer that.
gotta
She
know.
didn't answer questions about that. So
We
yeah,
gotta know
we
who
gotta,
that person was, and most importantly, we have to know if it was a man or a woman.
there you go. That's the most important thing. And I'm actually so she resigned. Both Biden and Mayorkas have put statements about this. Okay. So I'm going to read them to you. Here's Biden's statement about her resigning. Jill and I are grateful to Director Kim Cheeto for her decades of public service. She has selflessly dedicated and risked her life to protect our nation throughout her career in the United States Secret Service. We especially thank her for answering the call to lead the Secret Service during our administration. We are grateful for her service to our family. As a leader, it takes honor, courage, and incredible integrity to take full responsibility for an organization tasked with one of the most challenging jobs in public service. The independent review to get to the bottom of what happened on July 13th continues, and I look forward to assessing its conclusions. We all know what happened that day can never happen again. As we move forward, I wish Kim all the best and will plan to appoint a new director soon.
Wrong.
That is a terrible fucking statement.
Wrong. Yes,
What
exactly.
a trash statement was that from Biden? Oh my God.
You got an innocent American killed.
Yes.
Leave in disgrace. Your
Yes.
entire career is in the shit. Is in the shit can now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Go
And
away.
then Mayorkas' statement's even worse. He says, I am grateful to Kimberly Cheeto for her leadership as the Director of the United States Secret Service and her lifelong devotion to our country. Director Cheeto has dedicated her career to public service. She has served in the Secret Service for more than 29 years, rising through the ranks because of her talent, hard work, selfless dedication to mission, and integrity. Daily, she risks her life to protect others, serving on the front lines, securing events for every president since President Clinton. She supervised protection for Vice President Cheney, led the Secret Service Training Center, supervised protection of Vice President Biden, oversaw the agency's entire protected mission during the administration of President Trump and more, reflecting her devotion to country above all else. Director Cheeto returned from retirement to lead the agency and its noble mission that she loves and to which she has devoted her career. Over the past 2 years, she has led the Secret Service with skill, honor, integrity, and tireless dedication. She's deeply respected by the men and women of the agency and by her fellow leaders in the Department of Homeland Security. I am proud to have worked with Director Cheeto, and we are all grateful for her service. The men and women of the United States Secret Service risk their lives every day to protect others. They make the Secret Service the finest protected agency in the world.
Horrible.
So,
if that's the case though, I mean, someone is responsible here. And if they're not going to out who is responsible, this is just, I mean, these statements are terrible. If she's not going to find out who is actually responsible here, then she is responsible. She is culpable in a cover-up.
Yeah. So I agree with you completely. And the fact that Biden and Mayorkas gave these like weird, like these like glowing, especially from Mayorkas, these glowing fucking statements about this makes me think that she 100% is covering up for something shady or a complete colossal fuck up from Mayorkas's end that she's covering up for. And he's like patting her on the head for following the knife, so to speak.
Yeah, this is horrible.
There's no other way for me to interpret that statement. That Mayorkas' statement is insane about this. Like, someone died, 2 people got shot, 3 people got shot, including Trump. This is the biggest security failing for the Secret Service, since Reagan got shot. And he gives this glowing fucking testimony.
Oh, yeah.
Or this glowing, letter to her. Like, I can't imagine what the fuck's going on, except that she's covering for him, and maybe this does lead a lot of credence to the idea that, I don't know if he had anything to do I doubt he had anything to do specifically with what happened on July 13th, but that he was probably being a fucking asshole and denying additional security to Trump. And, she's kind of covering it up a little bit for him. And that's why he wrote all this.
Yeah, they brought everyone in the rooms and they said, look, well, no, I mean, they can't claim that they were understaffed, though, if they literally had someone that was up on the roof but was just claiming it was too hot up there.
If that's true. We don't know if that's true. Right. But
I just, look, I guess if the situation is this person is basically shorting the staff because they don't like Trump and they bring everyone in and the reality of the situation is they are just short staffed.
Right.
That can't come out, right? They are going to try to cover that up just because
Well,
it looks horrendous.
so I
They
don't
got
know.
like
You,
six
like,
people in Jimmy Carter's
right.
hospital room, right?
Like publicly, it would look really bad. But privately, I think they could say that we're just short staffed. It's not political. We just literally don't have enough money or we don't have enough people. Because another thing that came out is that apparently Secret Service has like one of the highest turnover rates for jobs in the federal government or something.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, because very, which is understandable. It's a very strenuous job because they had to be like providing security for so long, and they have like these super long shifts and their super long tours or whatever you want to call them of being with these people, and so it's a very difficult job to be on, and I get that. So maybe literally is just they're not staffed. Though someone asked a very good question, which was that I think it was like the same day or around the same time period that Trump was doing his campaign speech, like Jill Biden was at some
Oh no, please
like
don't.
fancy gala or fundraiser or something. And they're talking about how like they're claiming that she had like way more security than Trump had. And they were
Wow.
asking, the explanation for this. And obviously the Secret Service director couldn't explain anything or refused to explain anything because,
Wow.
she was just being super evasive and disgusting.
That's so
So
messed up.
yeah. Yeah. So I don't know if we'll ever get to the bottom of the security failing. I hope we do. I mean, it seemed like actually, the her answers were so bad that both Democrats and Republicans were pretty pumped to do a full investigation into the Secret Service and this failing. So we might get some interesting information on that. The fact that the Democrats were so pumped for it leads me away from it being Biden's fault in terms of, or Biden's administration's fault in terms of a staffing issue. But I think there's something shady going on there with Mayorkas. Um, so that was yesterday. Today, they had someone who was like a police commissioner who was testifying and was supposed to be testifying about like the police response and everything
Oh, really?
involved
Yeah,
here.
so he was there as local authorities.
Right. Now he wasn't there that day, but he was supposed to be representative of local authorities in there.
Okay.
Or some of the local
So
authorities. There
he
was like
interviewed the
multiple.
local authorities.
Right. It was interesting because it really shows you how wording is important because, well, two things are going on. First of all, everyone in Congress had already sharpened their knives to take out this Secret Service head. So they were totally fine blaming her and the Secret Service for everything. So they were kind of in a more amenable mood with this guy. And he was phrasing his answers in a much better way. He seemed a lot less evasive. He seemed more open, like he would say, like if they asked him a question that he didn't know directly, he'd say, my understanding at this time is XYZ, but I'm like, that information can change, right, when the investigation continues, right? He was a lot, this guy was so much smarter at like framing his answers to seem like he wasn't being evasive.
That's
But
great.
if you actually listen to what he was saying, he didn't really have that much useful information either, which is also kind of shocking because it's been 9 days in terms of this. Like, I understand he doesn't have information about the shooter, but in terms of like the security breakdown and why, like, why was there such a slow communication between the police and Secret Service? What was a slow communication between the police and Secret Service? Like, those answers you should have gotten 9 days. I don't understand why that would take so, unless, even if the police are like purposely hiding or the Secret Service are hiding information because they fucked up. I feel like you could suss out something in 9 days to tell Congress about that information. Um, the only thing that I thought that was kind of interesting that we really learned was supposedly he was saying that how they said that there were not people on the roof, but there are people inside the building.
Right.
Apparently the people inside the building, he was saying, it was his understanding that when they got the picture of the shooter, of Crooks, and they thought this guy is suspicious. It was the people inside the building that left the building to go look for him, and then they couldn't find him.
Right.
And then that ended up being the building he went on top of.
Right.
So now I don't know if that
just-
building had roof access from the inside. So I don't know if people being inside the building would have mattered one way or the other. But and also he said this weird answer about how, we heard that the police were, all these people had been pointing that he was on the roof. This is after he'd already been a person of suspect. And they were looking for him. They lost him. They couldn't find him. And then the police, I guess from, I don't know, whatever angle of the roof they were trying to get to quickly, they were not at the area where the ladder was. So they didn't use the ladder to get the roof. Literally one officer went on another officer's shoulders and then grabbed the roof and tried to do like a pull-up on it. And when he did that, the shooter heard or saw, and he turned around, he pointed his gun at the police officer, and the police officer fell back on the ground. And we learned that apparently it took minutes for that information to be relayed to the Secret Service.
Right,
Not
which
seconds,
is
it took minutes. Yeah.
Yeah, which is the big problem.
Now, to be fair, the shooter immediately started opening fire after that time. So it doesn't really make too much of a difference probably, but it still seems like not a good thing that it took that long.
Right, yeah. Yeah, the thing that makes this seem so corrupt is just everyone's calling that rooftop the sniper's paradise, right?
Right.
So just not having someone up there seems like a grave miscalculation. It's just an obvious miscalculation. So I think that's what makes it another problem for the Secret Service.
Yeah. Well, and also that apparently only one of the sniper teams had a clear line of sight on the shooter because there was like a tree blocking for one of the other sniper teams.
Right.
So that's a huge fuck up. The fact that people keep pointing to, and we didn't get an answer from anyone, why was there not a counter sniper team on the water tower, which would have been the highest elevated point? And they
Why
would have
isn't
been
there
able.
Just someone on? Why isn't there a security guard on the roof? That's just
Obviously, yeah. Why wasn't there a security guard on the roof? Why wasn't there a counter sniper team on the water tower? Because then they should have been able to radio to that guy, and he should have been able to very clearly see someone climbing on the roof and look at him through a scope.
Look, it seems like that's why the sniper didn't open fire immediately, because he thought, okay, that's sniper's paradise. There's got to be local authorities on that roof. Like that, the guy up there is probably one of ours.
We don't know that information yet.
Yeah.
That could have been very well likely been the case. But again, we didn't get anything from the Secret Service head to know like what the timeline was. We didn't even get anything from the cop guy to know what the timeline was either. So
just ridiculousness.
Yeah. So
people are slipping. Secret Service is slipping bad.
It was really bad. Okay, so that's all we know so far, because we'll find out more in the coming days. I don't believe anything that talks about second, third shooters. All that seems like total nonsense. So,
10th shooter.
Stuff. Yeah, no, there's one shooter.
Donald
it's so
Trump
annoying.
Pulled
People
out a gun and started shooting back.
There you go. People can on the internet, they can just draw like a diagram with a bunch of lines on it, and people go, "Oh wow, that's really convincing." It's like I just drew a bunch of lines on a picture. It's like, okay.
Are you making fun of people?
I am.
Stop it, Sitch. Stop.
Stug for $2 says Kamala has a shot. Also, she has a shot at winning. Get it?
I mean, that's very sexist, and
there you go.
I'm told that's going to lead Kamala to victory. So when
there you go,
Kamala is our next president, and Donald Trump is forced to gaslight everyone into him winning 3 terms,
right,
and only serving one of them,
right.
I want you to remember all the sexist stuff about Kamala Harris.
I will remember it all. I'll write it in a book. Electro for $20.
You don't care if Kamala wins.
No. I don't really care if Trump wins. I don't really care who wins.
Yeah, exactly.
We'll be fine.
That's why
we'll be fine either way. Electro for $20. Thanks so much. Says S-Class is the best class. And 18 puts milk in before the cereal. Wow, is that true?
No, of course not. That would be heresy.
Okay. I recommend reading, quote, Lucky How Joe Biden Barely Won the Presidency on how Joe didn't want Kamala, but had to choose her even though he didn't like her. Oh, really?
Wow. Okay.
That's hilarious. That's the name of it. Lucky How Joe Biden Barely Won the Presidency. I'll check it out.
Yeah.
Joe the Make for $5 says she fell on her sword to protect Mayorkas, who also deserves to be fired. He's been caught lying that the Trump team didn't ask for additional security. Well, hopefully, yeah. I mean, that letter is so fucking sus. So I'm very inclined to believe that.
That letter's like a thank you letter for saving my ass.
Right.
Sorry I had to get fired, but thanks for saving me.
Floyder for $5 says she withstood a Verdun style barrage. That was impressive, but otherwise she was awful and likely a sacrifice for the bureaucracy. Yeah, that's true. That's fair. Stug for $2 says it's getting hot in here, so abandon your post. There you go.
So bad.
Old school for $10. Thanks so much to Sitch. I put a relevant article in your Discord. God, I haven't looked in Discord in forever. Called How the Secret Service Failed, What Disaster Science Tells Us About the Trump Assassination Attempt. Just FYI. Well, I'll check it out. That sounds interesting. Is it this I found it, the City Journal article? I'll check it out. I'm always interested.
Oh, Stug for $2. LOL. I was referring to a shot of liquor, but fine. So I guess we're the ones with the dirty minds.
Oh, wait, that's what I assumed he was talking about. What did you think he was talking about?
I mean, I thought he was talking about a money shot, but
Oh, no. He meant liquor.
hence
Yeah.
the reason I was talking about all the sexist stuff. But
Yeah, I didn't know what you were talking about, and I just wanted to get through it. So I just said, yeah, sure.
okay, that's fine.
Okay, let me start over.
Why are you laughing? Why are you cackling Kamala about that? You really think that joke was that stellar? You really think
No,
it deserves?
I think you're resigned. Like, oh, that's fine. That was what was funny to me. Not anything I
okay.
said.
That's fine.
Metalface Rose for $10. Thanks so much. Says, have you looked into the JD Vance and Curtis Yarvin connection? If there's anything to it, I'd be willing to vote Harris. Monarchism is a cancer in modern conservatism, and it needs to be rooted out.
Wow, look at this. Now we know why Metalface Rose is a fan.
Based, yeah. Have you looked into it? I haven't looked in it more than we've talked about briefly, so I don't have a strong answer to that.
I do admire your hatred for Marvin Yarvin.
Right. My understanding is, well, not my understanding. What I've seen so far is that JD Vance used to work for Peter Thiel, and Peter Thiel and him are both huge Yarvin simps for some weird reason. Peter Thiel funds, I forget what it's called. There's some kind of weird post-liberal right-wing convention that happens every year, and Curtis Yarvin is strongly associated with it. And JD Vance has always shown up at this thing, and JD Vance has himself said that he's a post-liberal conservative. And you go, what the fuck does that mean? I don't know. That's a good question. He's also said that he takes inspiration from Curtis Yarvin and is a fan of his. But what does that mean specifically? We don't know. So to answer that question, I don't know if anyone knows exactly what his ideological adherence is to some of the weird Marvin Yarvin shit. I'm assuming that he's going to be asked a lot of these questions going forward as the election comes. So maybe we'll get a stronger answer about what the fuck his position is on any stuff, assuming he gives an honest answer.
Are you walking into the other room now?
Oh, sorry. I turned my face away from the microphone. So
are you smiling at someone? Are you winking and pointing?
I'm winking. So I don't want to say anything, but Kamala Harris just came in the room.
Oh, she
handed me $100 bill. So I just had to
nice.
smile and wink at her.
She's like, this is for last night.
Yeah,
Tiger.
There you go. Listen, I do what I can.
Good
But
you.
yeah, we'll look into it. We'll keep looking into it. Corona Kid for 20 months. Thank you so much. Has been playing D&D for 8 years now. Has been hard to watch. Wizards of the Coast yassify the art and lore, calling its creators racist and try to make wheelchair adventures a thing. Yeah, it's super cringe. Super cringe. We even brought up the art like a few streams ago. The weird, they like tried to make like the orcs Mexican, which was strange, but okay. Asha C for 28 months of discipline equals freedom. Thanks so much. Says now that Kamala seems to be the choice, do you guys think her very left wing 2020 messages will hurt her chances? I kind of forgot how far left a lot of her 2020 campaign promises were. I think they will 100% come back to bite her if Trump is smart. And I'm assuming he will bring up all this stuff and call her communist, socialist, and they'll bring up all the equity stuff.
Oh,
And
that
yeah,
equity tweet. Oh,
the
that's
equity
gonna be.
tweets. Yeah, they're going to throw all these things at her. I wouldn't be surprised if there's debate questions about that stuff. So it will definitely hurt her. I think it definitely will.
Kamala Harris supports equity. That
Yep.
means you lose your job now.
Look, you just wrote the fucking commercial right there. It's perfect.
And they give it to her black friend.
Well, okay, hold on. You got to pull back there a little bit.
Oh, is that too?
No. What you do is you say
to her black, disabled, retarded friend.
You keep the first part, and then you immediately say, Kamala Harris promoted a bail fund for BLM rioters.
Kamala Harris wants to see criminals go free so that they can break into your house and rape your kids.
There you go. I like it. Perfect. Perfect.
Look, we got the fear mongering down.
We do. Dilligaff for $5. Thanks so much. As he was eating really cold ice cream. Come on, man. There you go. That's why Biden got sick.
You got a brain freeze.
There you go. You had a massive brain freeze. Stock for $5 says, "What if it's AI and we're about to hear him arguing with Trump and Obama about whether they should enter the Nether yet?" There, that's how we'd really know if it was AI. Yeah, if Biden started talking about how he was playing Minecraft, then we'd know. Quotation points for 1 month says, Sitch and Adam, I've been listening to your channel for around 3 years now. You guys are excellent. Keep streaming. Keep believing. Well, thank you. Quotation points.
Yeah. Try to keep it real.
Clown Moosey Bean for 16 months says, hey, Sitch, have you played Undertale Yellow? No, I've never even heard of it. I don't even know what that is. Also, Adam is cool, and so is Bluntyfly.
Yes, of course. Bluntyfly is the best. Just a fly that likes to get high. How can that be a bad thing?
Undertale Yellow is the fan-made prequel to Undertale. I'd never even heard of this. I'll check it out.
Really?
That sounds cool. Metalface Rose for $5 says, since we're replacing old farts. Oh, this is mean.
Oh no. Is it
how
me?
long until Sitch replaces Adam? Never.
Someday.
Never.
Look, I will need to be put out to pasture.
No.
Yes.
No. Adam is my boogie.
Perfect. And now you're using my line.
Exactly.
That always gets a laugh out of Sitch. I say, what's up, my boogie?
Never.
Yes.
See.
That's nice. After the Pisco streams, there were some people that commented, I wish I had a friend like Sitch.
Really? Was that so?
Yeah, which was kind of cool. Yeah, definitely.
There you go.
Look, in the YouTube space, I don't know. I mean, people claim to be friends. I don't know if they actually are friends, right?
That's true. That's true.
Yeah, it's rare. It's very rare. So
D5280 for $2 says, thoughts on Washington Times piece on DEI on FAA. I haven't read it, so I don't have a comment on it. Let's see.
You think this is a DEI situation with the... I mean, obviously people are going to look at that and the Secret Service situation. So,
I mean, since we don't know who was in charge to make decisions, obviously we don't know for the DEI situation, but I guess I think I do have confidence that Congress isn't going to let it go, especially the Republicans, and that they'll get some kind of answer to this, and they will find out who was planning this and ream them for it and figure out what happened there. Was there someone on the roof who left because they were hot or something? So
yeah, this is an opportunity for them to bang the drum on the DEI stuff, just because it's like a cultural moment that they can look into and they can say, you know, if these people are responsible, were they living up to the meritocratic standards of the Secret Service? Like if there's certain benchmarks for different people to get hired, and these people were below those benchmarks for whatever reason. I mean, we know what reason, but whatever reason, right?
Mm-hmm.
The American people deserve to know, especially when an American citizen died, innocent person died because of their incompetence. Yeah.
Well, she
Remember
made
when
that
he-
comment that
Remember
she
when
said
Elon
that,
Musk tweeted out that people would get killed over DEI? This is like
Yes.
the perfect example of that.
True. Right.
She tweeted out what?
She had said to CBS News that the Secret Service needs to attract diverse candidates and give opportunities to everybody in the workforce, particularly women, and said that the goal in 2030 was that 30% of its recruits would be female. So
See, that's
yeah, that's not good.
That's horrible.
Yeah.
That is horrible.
It's actually
Their
funny.
goal should be 100% of Secret Service people should be completely excellent and competent.
Yes, 100%. There was actually when she was being questioned, one of the Republicans brought up DI, and it was hilarious because I forget who it was. One of the Democrats was like, excuse me, I just have to point out that DI had nothing to do with this, and DI is wonderful." I was like,
Really?
Oh my God. Yeah, I forget who it was. It was so lame. I was like, oh, get out of here. One of the other things that was really lame that not all of them, but some of the Democrats were doing was they kept trying to turn it to like a gun control issue. And I was like, oh my God, please stop. They'd be like,
Yeah.
does having easy access to guns make it more difficult for the Secret Service to protect candidates? Yes or no? Answer the question. I was like, oh, Jesus.
I'm surprised they didn't turn it into a climate change issue since the
There
roof
you
was
go.
too hot for
This is
someone
too
to
hot. You're right. You're right. Yeah.
If climate change wasn't happening, would the person be able to stay on the roof?
Mm-hmm. It says, according to her wiki, Cheeto had been in the Secret Service since 1995. She left in 2019 and served as the senior director of global security at Pepsi until 2022. In 2021, she received from Joe Biden the Presidential Rank Award for exceptional performance. That's interesting. And then later in 2022, she left Pepsi and was appointed the director of the United States Secret Service. So
Wow.
there you go. And then obviously now she's resigned in disgrace, as she should. Okay.
All right. That was a great show, Sitch.
Well, I read them all out of order, so I have to kind of
Oh, you gotta check through,
scan
make
through
sure
them,
that
yeah.
we didn't miss
Right.
anyone.
No, I did miss some because I just
If we
jumped
did
around.
miss anyone, be sure and super chat us and let us know
There
that you
you-
missed your super chat so that
That's true.
we can make sure to get it, right?
Yes. Loser Doberman, thanks so much, Lucifer the Doberman, for the 10 Canadian. Says, I have to give my crew the next 2 days off because of the forest fire, so I will smoke 20 kilograms of bacon. What are you going to do on your downtime? Wow. Sorry to hear
That is
about the forest fire.
impressive.
But, that's a lot of bacon, though, so that sounds tasty.
Well, actually, I'm not. I mean, since it's kilograms and it's not something American, I mean, that
we don't
could
know
be,
what that is.
Yeah, that could be a tiny amount of bacon, and I would have no
That's
idea.
44 pounds of bacon.
44 pounds of bacon. Oh my God.
That's a lot of bacon.
What did you hit a pig or something in the?
Why do you have that much bacon, Lucifer? Jeez.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. What am I gonna do? We're not gonna have downtime. What do you
Yeah.
mean?
Look.
We're gonna argue with people on Twitter.
Yeah.
That's what we're gonna do.
Oh, it's so glorious.
Mm-hmm.
God, I love politics, Sitch. I do. I gotta admit, I love it. I totally love it.
Yep.
Everyone is like, no. We got to make sure Trump wins.
Mm-hmm.
Now we're in a real fight. This is a real fight. This is like an honest, fair fight now.
Did you watch the Yu Yu Hakusho live action Netflix show?
The what?
Yu Yu Hakusho?
No, is that?
No.
No.
There's a scene I thought you did. I thought we were talking about. I don't remember. Maybe I'm misremembering. There's a scene. It's an anime. There's a scene where, um, the plot is that like the main character, Yusuke, has died. He was like getting this fight with this guy who's kind of like a bully, and he kept beating him up, and then he dies, and so the bully character who becomes his friend later, he like shows up at his funeral, like demanding to fight him and yelling to fight him, and how he's just running away from a fight. And someone tweeted that out, and they said Trump right now.
Oh yeah.
It's like the perfect comparison of Trump.
Hmm. Netflix, Yu Yu Hakusho.
It's not good. Don't watch it.
Live action.
Don't watch it. It's not good.
Why do you watch stuff that's not good?
I was curious. Like it's like one of the classic animes everyone loves. I could never finish it. So I just like, oh, I'll watch the live action one and see what it's like.
Are you caught up on House of the Dragon?
No, I should do that.
I'm like halfway through the latest episode, but there's a storyline that I completely love.
Well, I'll catch up. Maybe we'll talk about it on our other channel.
Yes.
See, read that one. Here we go. Chat Summer for €5 says Dev is a POS in lying about Kirsch again on Twitter, although he said he would not talk about her. Community noted and pathetic. Dev's going to be exposed.
Wow, everyone is turning on Dev in our chat all the time. Like,
Really? Why?
yeah, what's
I love
going on
Dev.
with that?
Dev's the best. Don't be haters, everybody.
Well, I mean, if it comes out that Dev has done anything unscrupulous, obviously.
I thought just because he's been like crapping on Trump recently.
Oh, it is?
I don't know.
Well, that's
I thought
not
this was-
fair. Don't do that.
I was like, we crap on Trump.
Yeah, don't
I don't know why.
mischaracterize us. I mean, I'm slightly more in favor of you guys crapping on Dev dishonestly than crapping on me dishonestly.
Oh, you
but,
want to throw him up as a sacrifice?
but
No.
still, but don't do it. Just look, come on, let's all play fair here.
There you go. I don't know who Kirsch is, so I don't know what they're even. I don't know what this Twitter drama is that you're talking about.
What will be with the presidential election is what will be, but don't get too far out over your skis.
Mm-hmm.
Don't talk
There you
like, oh, Trump is going to destroy Kamala and it's going to be utter annihilation. Because let's at least hear her do some rallies. See if she's figured it out.
Right. Joe the Make for $5 says that's an awful lot of passage of time. Can Kamala put down the drink for that passage of time? That's $1 million question. A Very Dead Horse for $5 says, y'all think they'll send out Dana Carvey out again to put people's fears to rest about Joe still being alive? Also, we should watch that impression. Oh, wow. There you go. It's really Dana Carvey doing a Joe Biden impression.
Right.
I'd believe
Yeah.
it. I believe it. Rusta O for $5. Thank you. Says, frankly, Destiny is the reason I'm concerned of the left winning, because what is there to stop them after the election? I mean,
Oh,
what
no.
are you worried about? They're not going to start rounding up people or something. The system will prevent something crazy from happening. So it's the same percent of anything from happening. Chad Summer for €2 says Michael stole book from her hands. What anime, chat? Oh, is that
Michael
just like a
stole
quiz?
book from her hands.
You're saying there's an anime where a character named Michael steals a book from someone's hands, and you want the chat to guess what anime is that from?
Well, go ahead, guys.
There you go.
Guess away.
I don't have any fucking clue. Let's see.
No clue.
Spencer Harmon for 27 months of Discipline Equals Freedom. Thank you so much. Says he's dead. It's a body double. It was AI. There you go.
Yeah, that was a suspiciously slow walk up those Air Force One steps.
Yes.
Definitely could have been AI generated, but who knows? All right, is that it? Or we? Oh,
Why are people saying it got taken over by AI? Was there some meme I missed about the Michael stole book from her hands?
I don't know.
Lucifer Dillman for 2 Canadians says, I will send pics of the bacon. Well, there you go.
Oh, I'm hungry already. Jeez.
Yes.
Who doesn't like
Bob,
bacon?
the terrible people. Bob Higgins for 15 months says, you missed my super chat. I feel like I was trolling me, but I'll go back. Don St. Louis for $5 says, Project 2025 and where Trump stands on it, question mark. Tired of my coworkers saying it's ushering in the handmaiden's tale, just looks like boilerplate RNC to me. Well, I mean, we've had twice Trump has, I mean, he could be lying, of course, but twice Trump has directly, very, very strongly condemned Project 2025. There's a clip if you want to show your coworkers. I don't know if they'll believe you. You can find there's a clip of Donald Trump denouncing it, saying like, this is very far right wing stuff. I don't know what this is. I don't like this. It's very far right wing stuff. You know, not on board with it. So you can show them that. Let us know if it works or not.
There's this weird like propaganda piece on Project 2025 that I'm dying to watch with Sitch just because it's so fascinating to me. It does the creepy music and everything. Like it comes out very, very professionally made and just makes you think, oh yeah, 2025 is real and it's terrifying. Yeah. Did you watch that?
It. We should. That sounds interesting.
Yeah.
But I have to research it.
I sent it to you. And I'm
I mean,
listening.
but I know you did. You have to research it to actually know
of what they're saying.
Because I want to
is
know
true.
like the fact claims about
Look,
what's not true.
This is what's fascinating about it, because all the fact claims, even if they are 100% true, are just like you're basing all of this on that little, like it's all eyewitness testimony from like jilted ex-employees.
Right.
It's like, what? How is that? I mean, maybe these people have an axe to grind or something. And it's some of it just seems complete TDS driven, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's some people that come out and they're like, oh, these terrible things. They're listing all the usual suspects of anti-LGBT stuff. Like, oh my God, you won't believe it. They want the federal government to step in and inform parents when their kids want to transition in grade school. How fucking evil is that?
Yeah, you saw in California they passed that weird law.
Oh, of course, it's totally weird. But look, if somebody says that, if that's what they're saying, aren't you like a little bit thinking, okay, well, this person's crazy?
This is highly suspect. Yeah,
yeah,
that's the big thing you're talking about. That's like, but that's a good thing. Like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Exactly.
Stoic for $5 says, what's weird about the DEI discourse, much of the progressive left have somewhat walked back on DEI defenses, then CRT, until it started be calling DEI. Yeah, I think the writing's on the wall that people are starting to get like annoyed with woke shit. And I think it's losing steam. And so maybe that's what the walkback's going on. I understand it's just a losing issue. Though, you know, we'll have to see where we are after the election, because that's going to change everyone's political talking point and political calculation.
If Trump wins, you think it's
if Trump
just
wins,
TDS off the charts?
It could be TDS off the chart, or if Kamala wins, maybe some of the walkback is just people walking it back for the election, and then they'll go forward again. Who knows? It's hard to say. So,
look, I've been calling these elections. I bet money Trump would win against Hillary Clinton. I just, on face value, it seemed like Hillary Clinton was completely unlikable. And I could see that a lot of people were just in this progressive bubble where they thought, oh my God, we're making history here. And I thought, I mean, she's pretty unlikable. And look, I didn't make a prediction on 2020. I guess my gut intuition was kind of wrong there, because it seemed as though Trump was going to destroy Biden. Biden wasn't campaigning much, and he did seem very low energy, no crowds. So I was surprised he won. Now I just look, you hope my gut is wrong again, because I think Trump is super vulnerable. I think Kamala Harris could easily beat Trump, which I know nobody wants to hear, but what is your gut intuition at this point?
Well, it's weird. 2020 was weird because that was the first election in my lifetime where a candidate won by running against someone. because before that, every time someone ran against someone, they lost. You had people that ran against Bush lost. People weren't voting for them. They were voting against Bush. They
Right.
lost.
Yeah, no, that's a great point.
It was the same thing with Obama. The Democrats were voting for Obama. Republicans didn't really give a shit about McCain or Romney. They were just voting against Obama, and that failed both times. And then it was the same thing with Hillary and Trump. A lot of the Hillary support, because she was so unlikable, it wasn't Hillary support. It was just people. It was just they voted against Trump. And so with Biden, I thought it's interesting because you have like again the same situation where someone's running against Trump as opposed to people voting for him. But then Trump was, historically divisive and disliked by a lot of people in a level that no other candidate in my lifetime has been disliked. Whether you think it was justified or not is a different issue. And so it seemed to have worked. So I don't know. I definitely agree with that. I think it's hard to tell because like right now, the energy for Kamala is very high. And so right now you say, okay, if we take a snapshot of right now, Kamala, I think, could definitely be in a strong position to win. I want to see how she campaigns for the next 2 weeks before I feel like I can make a more solid assessment on that.
Yeah, she was a abysmal campaigner when she was running in the Democratic primary. So she could
Yes.
definitely self-sabotage. But I do think there's a lot of self-sabotage going on Trump's side, especially when he's given this completely out of the blue gift of this surviving an assassination attempt. And it bothers me. He's just completely pissing that away just from a strategic perspective. And it makes me think that people are going to vote for change. They're just going to vote for change. So even though Kamala can be an imperfect candidate and still be closer to change than Trump can be.
Yeah, that's true. Lucifer Doman for 2 Canadians says Spoon loves Yarvin. Should I look him up? I'm not surprised Spoon loves Yarvin.
Yeah.
So.
Spoon, famous villain of the channel, right?
Yes, monarchist, obviously likes the monarchist Yarvin. Fiery Patriot, thanks so much for the 14 months, says Trump Vance looking for group. Yeah, I saw Elon tweet that out some time ago. I was very happy when Elon first bought Twitter, and he was like, I need to be politically neutral. Twitter needs to be a politically neutral platform. And then, unfortunately, in my opinion, Elon just become more and more like throwing away being any sort of facade of political neutrality. So.
Yeah, it's tough because we try to be politically neutral, and there's no benefit to it. Like it's all downside. It's all
you're right.
Yeah. So
and we talked about this at the time because we both said like, yeah, the problem with Elon being politically neutral is that he's getting attacked by the left, and he got attacked by the left so hard that he is being in this kind of vulnerable position of being in charge of Twitter or X now. He needed political allies. And so I think he basically pragmatically ran to the right just to get like protection.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
It's exactly what happened. He's, we're just a little dinky YouTube channel, and he's like a billionaire. Like he needs that kind of political protection just to survive. Right. Yeah.
Yes.
He's a giant target. So.
Yes. Yeah. So. It's sad, but unfortunately, this is where we're at. This is where we're at.
Yeah.
Read that one.
Isn't it great when you go out of order? You got to scroll through every single super chat again.
I can read pretty quick. Okay.
Oh, I know. It's amazing.
I know.
I love it. I can have Audible read to me pretty quick, so.
I can actually do it. Metalworks 411.90 for $2 says Dev has been getting a lot of shit from Spoon and Ace. I don't know who's Ace.
I mean, they give us a lot of shit. Aiden, right? Or is it who's Ace?
Oh, it says ACE. Did you mean Aiden?
Oh.
Well, I mean, if he's getting a lot of shits from Spoon, then that makes me automatically think Dev's in the right, whatever they're talking about, because Spoon's a fucking retard. So.
Yeah, that's true.
Libertarian Satchclots for $5 says things I'm more curious about is if Kamala pivots off abolishing fracking and mandatory gun buyback program she ran on in 2020. Ooh, yeah, those wouldn't be popular. Uh, I would expect to pivot off of those points. Okay, let me refresh quick here.
All good? All good in the
Dr.
hood?
Diddler for $2 says, so help me God if I hear a rerun of the quote, vote the black person on your racist narrative again. I'm protesting Kamala. I've hated that line of attack since I was a kid during the Obama years.
Kamala's black? That's not true.
That's news to you, yeah.
Yeah. I think I'm darker than Kamala, so.
Sulla for $2 says, I know he's joking about it, but actual Justice Warrior really seems to be all in on the coup narrative. I demand blood sports, JK. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I always assume that he's trolling on Twitter anyway, so.
Oh, yeah. He is he is definitely trolling. Yes.
Right. Sulla for $2 says, if Biden resigns, she may want to nominate a VP for both House and Senate confirmation. The House would block it. Electoral vote count would be held by either Pat Murray or Chuck Grassley, depending on who wins the Senate. Huh. I mean, they changed the law to specify that there can't be any sort of Trump Pence telling the VP to throw out the votes shenanigans. So that shouldn't really be an issue that they'd have to worry about anymore.
Yeah, I was going to
But
ask.
maybe. They might just do it just to be spiteful.
If Kamala loses, can she Mike Pence herself into office? How's that work?
I mean, if they hadn't changed the law, I guess she could. Or, technically it's funny because just Eastman's retarded legal theory. Oh, I forgot to talk about that. But Eastman's retarded legal theory was that it didn't matter what the law says. The Constitution gave the vice president that power. So she could, if she loses, be like, I'm going to pull a John Eastman and declare myself president, But speaking of John Eastman, that fucking the retard who came up with the fake elector scheme plot, he also has this genius idea that Kamala Harris is not really eligible to be president, because even though she was born in America, he is concocting some weird thing that that says that she's not an American citizen, despite literally being born in America uncontestedly.
Going back to birtherism.
Yes. So there you go.
Wow.
Very stupid. Anyways.
All right. Great show. That was amazing, Sitch. Oh my God. So informative. I feel so much smarter after listening to this.
I'm glad.
All right.
Take care, everybody.
Bye-bye.